Okay, this is the planning commission interviews. Hopefully all applicants should be prepared for a brief opening statement and be prepared to discuss the following questions. First off, we're going to start with Henry Ferguson. Are you online? Are you on mute?
I am. Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Now I can see you. I can see you. All right. So basically, you have an opening statement. If you want to give us a little background.
Sure. Yeah. So my name's Henry Ferguson, and first of all, thank you for the opportunity to potentially volunteer in my local community. And I apologize that I had this prior commitment I couldn't get out of tonight and have to leave at around 6:40. I hope I haven't jumped the line too much here. My wife and I bought our house at 324 East Street in January of 2020, and little did we know that the world was about to change. And while we were all trying to figure out this new realities of the global pandemic, you know, we would walk out our front door and down Marion to the estuary and onto Little Beach and around the point and down to 10th and back through town. And in about that 3-mile loop, I can't imagine another stretch in Oregon that you have as much of a variety of environments and sights and sounds and animals. And it's just, you know, we never get tired of it. And we fell in love with Gearhart hard. And so for the last 10 years of my working life, I was responsible for managing a large partnership program for the software company I worked for. And the goal there was to provide profitable business relationships for about 100 different companies that integrated into the software that we built. And the fact of the matter was that many of these companies were competitors. There was very often a lot of competing interest and some tension. And I think what my skill is, and certainly something I'm interested in and have done a lot of, is trying to work with people that many times have very different agendas and intentions, and try and get to win-win situations, which I would imagine comes up a fair amount in your work. And ultimately, my goal would be to just participate enthusiastically and helpfully in helping the commission fulfill its duties. I want to get back to Gearhart while getting to know it at a deeper level. And I think we have something special, and it would be an honor to play some part in being helpful.
Okay, well, thank you, Henry. Right now, we're going to start with Rita on question 1. Just a second. What is that?
That is people coming in and going out. I'm not sure. I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Chad,
Ma'am?
just so you know, without the little microphone and only the rally bar microphone, there's a really bad reverb going
Okay.
on.
It's a little hard to understand you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we need more light?
Yeah, I'll work on that over here. And carry it on, because I'm not sure how much change is going.
Okay.
You can still hear us?
Henry?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, are you ready? Do you believe that the comprehensive plan algorithms is still applicable and does it need to be changed? If so, how?
Well, I certainly wouldn't try and present myself as anybody with a lot of experience and certainly any expertise in reviewing and approving comprehensive city plans. But in reading the plan and going through it, I enthusiastically support the goals of maintaining, low density, semi-rural character of Gearhart. And living specifically where I do, I really appreciate the mindfulness and the number of goals and policies that have gone into trying to maintain estuary, coastal shorelands, beaches and dunes. Again, we've got such a unique environment in Gearhart. I think it's critical to be thinking long-term about how things could be impacted. Specifically, I am concerned about balancing, maintaining our kind of special character of the town and having a community that is thriving.
What are your thoughts for now and the near future? Please be specific as possible and address Gearhart maintaining its residential community feel, or would you prefer additional commercial and tourist growth? And how they pertain to the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so as a resident, again, I wouldn't want the character of Gearhart to change in favor of more commercial development and tourist traffic. I want kind of our local four corners there at Pacific Way and Cottage to thrive in terms of the collection of different shops and restaurants and small businesses we have there. Since moving in 2020, early 2020, there's obviously been some vacancies, and again, recently a new vacancy. And I would like to understand, what can help make these businesses tick and thrive while not also overdeveloping or fundamentally changing the character of that downtown area. I'm also very interested in reading about and coming to know more about the long-range urban population growth plans and potential impact on the urban growth boundary and how these things affect our community. Personally, I feel pretty strongly about and support the idea that we are very strict on short-term rentals of properties. A number of times my family and I have rented properties in other coastal towns and realized the hard way that we're renting a house next to somebody else who's renting a house that's having a large party or something like that. And glad that's not part of the environment. And finally, I'm just concerned about access to our beach and maintaining our beach and the special character of our beach there. It seems like it's a unique stretch and, concerned about it ever becoming too busy or vehicles accidentally or on purpose driving on it and these sorts of things. I think those are kind of the primary areas where I'm just personally concerned or interested in learning about the comprehensive plan and the policies in there to protect against those things.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Ferguson, thank you for applying. How do you see your role as a planning commissioner member in city government? Describe your understanding of the relationship and interaction between the planning commission and the city council.
Well, I've got a lot to learn here. Again, this is kind of a new chapter, but I just am a person who is retired and but still just very active and eager to play a positive role in things. As I understand it, the function of the planning commission is to act kind of in an advisory role to the city council and making recommendations on land use regulations, building and housing codes, community development, and the main interactions are in regular meetings. I also, as I understand it, think there's a very important piece around providing public forum for debate on issues and helping to maintain transparency for the residents about what's going on and what issues may impact the community.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, again, thank you for applying. The next question is, are you aware of any present or future conflict of interest you might have as a member of the planning commission? And if these situations should arise, will you excuse yourself from voting?
Yeah, I definitely would. I just can't imagine a scenario in which there'd be one, just have no interest in or plans for or knowledge of any kind of, presumably what, commercial development or residential development, or just nothing that I can imagine ever having to be careful about what my priorities are.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody that you guys have any thought?
Do you, as a candidate for the planning commission, have a question of any of the members of city council?
I do. Maybe this first one's a little too big of a question, so please tell me if it is, but I'm just curious, given that this is the first comprehensive plan that I've ever tried to really absorb and understand, and I'm relatively new to the area. I'm wondering, can you give me an example of has there been a significant change in it in the last year or two, and one that maybe required lots of review, debate, discussion, maybe a little bit of friction? I'm just curious, has there been a significant change to the comprehensive plan since the one that I'm reading is dated 2022?
I know no change to that. This.
No, it's got discontinued years, really, so the comprehensive plan has been changed except for the NDS and other recommendations on. Maybe not putting that later, so I don't know about that.
Did you hear that? I mean, it was the tsunami inundation zone that was placed in the comprehensive plan when we adopted that, but that's the only real change. Everything else has been status quo since basically it was written.
Fantastic.
You know, that we visit something. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think we made your time then. Okay, moving on. Jennifer Gray. I think we'll just keep moving down the line. Do you believe the comprehensive plan as written is still applicable? Does it need to be changed? If so, how? Hold on, so darn. Okay, sorry, Jennifer.
I grew up in Portland. I'm a graduate in my own state. And I heard three phases to the first one of the process design engineer at Chevron Research. And I supervised engineers and technicians, traveled, did a lot of technical work, strength and science organization. Abilities. Second phase, I was a full-time mom. It's important to me to be able to do that. The third phase, I wanted to do something more meaningful with being an engineer, so I'm trying to become a recovery coach. Work for Institute, work for people who have significant in their lives, working through consequences of that. I also was the administrator for the clinic. I oversaw hiring, bookkeeping, purchasing, a number of different areas. I also wrote everything on the website, papers, and presentations. It was a demanding but rewarding job, and called on me to grow and learn and become a bigger person. And for that work, I needed to be both discerning and hear them where they are. About what was going to be the best for the situation. Recently, it became clear that I wanted to retire, and I wanted to come home. As long as I was in California, working all this stuff. And I still have family here on the North Coast, and I'm very grateful to be back. I am falling in love here, and it's not really that new. It's kind of like setting home grandparents' house in Pennsylvania, starting in the 1930s. And we were all over the North Coast. Many years. I'm very at home here. I am looking for what's next for me, and I always want to be challenging myself to level up. And now I have time to be able to do that. That's what I would like to have an opportunity to hear things that could be really look to do.
Thank you. I always have purchased them, they're kind of like, it's normal for me to do something different. Do you believe the comprehensive plan as written is still applicable? Does it need to be changed? If so, how?
Let me just start by saying that my understanding of the role of the planning commission in this community, not themselves personally. However, as an individual, I am in agreement comprehensive plan that Gearhart would stay predominantly residential, limited commercial development. Comprehensive plan also places a high priority on our fire and police services, which I feel strongly. I also feel that comprehensive plan equally supports protecting our resources. Estuary, dams, the beach, beautiful place that we have here. I think both the small residential and the resources are almost to me part of the same picture. I support commercial as defined and limited by the comprehensive plan and city ordinances. I think those businesses that comply with those deserve the highest of the city and the buildings here in this sector.
What are your thoughts for now and the near future for Gearhart? Please be as specific as possible and address Gearhart in those residential community feel, which we've already sort of done. Or would you prefer additional commercial and tourist growth and how it pertains to the commons?
And then as I said, I think I personally see the comprehensive plan as being the right path. Near, I know that there are some significant projects and goals for the city, internal, and the continuing issues around commercial development, preserving natural resources here. And I know that there's I would
numbers. But part of what I would like to see is better, maybe better communication. I would like to be part of helping things progress that will mobilize.
Thank you.
Right, I love that. You just, the word, so I didn't, I love it. So the next question is, how do you see the role as a planning commission member in the city government? Describe your understanding of the relationship and the interaction between the planning commission and the city council.
I understand because the planning commission hears, researches, and looks into applications for zoning variances or additional variances. New comprehensive plan, any number of different functions that fall to the planning commission. They research areas, come to a recommendation that goes to the city council. City council has all authority to propose.
Are you aware of any present or conflict of interest you might have as a member of the planning commission? If the situation should arise, would you excuse yourself and vote?
I'm not aware of any conflict of interest in the one.
Okay. Do you, as a candidate for the planning commission, have a question of any of the members of the city council?
I just want to thank everyone that I've spoken to, many people in generous with the time. And I don't have.
Okay, thank you. Eric Kaufman.
Hello. We're in Melbourne. I live on 10th Street, your cottage. And also own an adjacent property, I think it's on 9th Street. I moved here in 2017. I've been on the Gearhart budget for 2 years. Prior to moving to Gearhart, I lived in Paris and County. I was on town interest for 27 years here, one of my wife. 30 years, coast, and a small business over there. As far as education, biology. I also look at human geography, which is the study of the relationship with relationships. The president of the commission, contributed to the other to my community. I appreciate my patient. And I feel that I can be
Thank you. Do you believe that the comprehensive plan is still applicable because it needs to be changed? If so, how?
the general broad structure. Goals on that, and that's all. I'm not in a position to consider each and every sub goal of that policy. I will say the plan that is headed. typos. Format, it's something that's don't do. And so since I was going through the process of reading it, I took the liberty to try and clean it up. And I have that column here. I'm curious who's the keeper? Where is it? Is it the city manager? Is it administrator? You know, there may have to be only to the top. If it needs to be added, who
Leave the record keeper would be, well, umbrella Chad. He's this.
And then we need to go through the process and go through the planning commission, city council, including the ones that are stuck.
even just protect. Well, also, and you can do it as you will, but I have to go through the process. And then, the other thing I would suggest is, the same as a user of a meter on a. If there was some, if there could be some kind of. Introduction to describe why it was created, what the process of, is there some regular price? Where I didn't see the charter. So is there a dictate as to how often it should be addressed? Should it be? And those was it the when it's the end of the 2022, who did that? Now, a little history of that. What was created on that and when amendments were made. Some of the user looks at it, oh, this. Or this section here was. Then we know what was full history. I think that. Yeah, I think that's. Thank you.
Okay, so. What are your thoughts for now and the future of Gearhart? Please be as specific as possible and address Gearhart maintaining its residential community feel, or would you prefer additional commercial insurance growth? And how do they pertain to the conference?
So, you know, that as another, yeah, so stated. It is all right in the conference plan. Under general development goals, resident development policy, city, where to change, your appropriate zoning land use development regulations and commercial development policies, city limit commercial activity, in the city, et cetera, to a level of your. So that's stated very, very,
Okay. How do you see the role of the planning commission member in this government? It's part of your understanding of the relationship and interaction between the planning commission and the council.
So that's the other half. I understand. Research, understand. That's today.
Are you aware of any present or future conflict of interest you might have as a member of the planning commission? If a situation should arise, would you excuse yourself from voting?
I'm not aware of any conflicts, but we have
Do you, the candidate for the planning commission, have a question? Maybe I want to the city council or those questions you already asked.
Well, I would only just ask if any council member has a different perception of what the planning commission should do. City council. And if any city council member has a different perception of what the future of your motion should be other than what all those out.
is our path, as Donna described, is to me, it's our bottom line, is where we're going. And we as a community start to feel like we're all the wrong path. And as you said, I agree with you that it needs to be a citizen committee that comes together and redirects the course.
That's fine with me. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. All right, next is Carl Lay. Is that Lay?
It's William, thank you. Good evening. Like everyone else, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My wife and I live below Lieutenant Court. I think the first thing to point out is we love Cannon Beach, love Seaside. That's where we chose Gearhart. Which will answer a lot of my questions for the question. What do you think about the community? It's one of the things that we love about it, most character. I think my passion for that, for Gearhart, combined with my experience and some of the qualification, some very impressive people here. Thank you for that. I studied engineering and computer science, like natives. I worked in software industry for most of my career. Had a lot of experience negotiating and getting like that win-win situation. Another thing, I served on 2 city commissions in my previous city I lived in outside of Seattle, for the Village Development Commission, for support my planning commission for specific type of development, and also for economic vitality as a chair of that commission. So because of those backgrounds, I take those together. I can think critically, respectfully, and thoughtfully consider things, work through some issue, challenge together.
That's what I'm ready. So it's, yeah, it's.
I'm sorry. Thank you for applying. Well, I'm impressed by your background. Do you believe that the comprehensive plan is written still adequately? And does it need to be changed? And if so, how?
So first of all, the whole plan by my spirit, as I said, that's why we moved here. I do think, and oil comments, I was previously not, and you define things in the plan. I think we need some specificity buried into the area because I think it's very important complex. We talked about Gearhart, last thing, Gearhart west of 101. Gearhart is 2 different communities west of 101. Also, along 101 is east of 101 is a similar role. When you first read the comprehensive plan, it talks about more of a similar, I think it says similar role to what it is. Actually, doesn't make sense. I don't know if look up the definition. But it's stuff to the east of 101, we're a residential community. So that shows up. We do different things at different times in the plan. We talk about not wanting to be a tourist destination. One of my questions at the end is what are the demographics and how they change? How many people own versus how many people are residents here? I see a shift in the new construction society here. And we're meeting those needs of people who come from Portland and own homes. God bless them, but by definition, they're tourists. They're coming to what is the definition to travel or visit and enjoy their pleasure. What they're doing at their house here, that's great. I love that. What a lot of us don't want, myself, is short-term rentals, maintaining general care of the community. So getting this specificity and comprehensive plan that would foster and embolden that would be important to me. Another thing, talking about tourist destination, I watched the last planning commission meeting a couple of times on pickleball discussion, if I can call it that. And I think there was a reference in there about not wanting to become a regional center for recreation. Yet it's one place to come to plan. It's about our golf links and the simple focus of the community, which by definition, regional destination. It's not here for the community. So I think we've got some things like that we can look at along specific items. And the notes like our rules. So I think, I'll read it to the next question.
Okay. Unique. What are your thoughts for now and for the near future for Gearhart? Please be as specific as possible and address your maintaining residential community feel. How would you prefer additional commercial and tourist growth and how would it pertain to the comprehensive plan?
first thing we just talked about, I think that is talking about the short term as well. And it started around that, solving their policies over the last year plus the communities up and down the West Coast. Or the first on that, I think communities can establish certain guidelines that make sense. I don't think that. I don't know. But so that, you know, I don't have a predisposition on what my views are. I should be listening to multiple sides of the community and taking into account and then reflecting on the conversation. That's for a guiding document. So I agree with those. The life we have here. I also agree with the comment about what we do have here. We had a colleague who just goes to it's not what we know for. And I was talking to him over the team's call. He goes, "Why doesn't your sleepy little town?" And I didn't take offense to that. I like my sleepy little town. There's other places I can go and entertain I'm looking for. But I think the places we have would be sensitive to the residents, the people who reside here. You know, the cottage and Pacific Way that we talk about. Those places should be vibrant and alive. A sleepy little town is not going to be a place to be dead. As long as those businesses abide by the rules, I have experience with sign codes that are really interesting. And I know other places that isn't necessarily agree with those. I think that's one of the issues that needs to be brought up anecdotally amongst all the restaurants that recently left. So again, reflecting those things in companies that plan, but taking into account what we have and where we want to go with these.
I can see your role as a planning commission member in the city government. Describe your understanding of the relationship and interaction between the planning commission and the city council.
I will flip it and say, did I know that we've already all set it out for research, advisory board, given the last planning commission was eliminated because we will make a recommendation to the city council for an application. You know, we talked to the city attorney, but there were additional law secretarial, which is experience within previous roles, where the planning commission should have to make decisions that we then get ratified by that, so they can sort of process.
Thank you for applying. Appreciate it. Are you aware of any present or future conflict of interest? You might have some member of the planning commission, if the situation arises, we excuse yourself.
I know of minimal conflicts, and yes, of course, I would be myself.
So that's our instance, the wrap-up question, which is where do you have the opportunity to ask us?
I'm curious, we were just about the mix, if our demographics change, you know, a lot of the two cul-de-sacs that have been built in the last couple of years, and if that changes our mix, about the number of people who are here full time versus people who over here that aren't here full time and renters, et cetera, has that changed? Appreciably over the last 5 years?
5% between the 2010 and 2020. So in Oregon, people have considered their primary domicile, and then they have multiple residences. So if somebody owns a second home, if it's not their primary residence or domicile, then they're not actually a tourist. So they're just visiting. They're choosing between one residence or another. So that's something that's confusing about the golf plan until you understand that what we're talking about is out of areas that are traveling more than 50 miles with the intent of spending the night in some of this in the ground, or you can do a day trip as well. But I believe it was 45% in 2010 that were that Gearhart was their primary home. I think it's 50% under the 2020 census. Our population growth, I want to say it was 24%. So there was a shift in either people buying a home or using their Gearhart home as their primary home. And then also for us, an increase in home population.
Thank you. That's the first of all, we should be cognizant of that potential tipping point if change. Also, if they're not generating people who is secondary residents or whatever the proper terminology is, try to say positive things, but there is a difference. I know people live on some small streets like 80, say, I'm one house, the other house is dark around 80% of the year, so it's just affects our quality.
And then our training plan, our short-term rentals are really in there. We've done a number of years ago. I think we were the first community. We certainly made law on this, where we capped the number of short-term rentals. And those homes are sold, will be returned to, they're not grandfathered in short-term. They're grandfathered in as long as the owners of them own them. But if they're sold, then they come up with it. And that's in our one in our team for this. The content is there by the hotel. This one could not be a short-term rental. And that just gets the character as you kind of, as you know, the preference between traditional residential.
Yeah, those high-rises is like one of the interesting things. We call ourselves rural center rural. Those aren't necessarily who qualify as rural or speak. So again, another inconsistency. But I am looking at those.
So our plan was adopted decades after. And I think in a response to what people see in other developments, they want those. And the difference between our code and our comprehensive plan is that our comprehensive plan needs to be fully acknowledged. Anything goes to the state or the state's DLC also needs to do. And then ultimately they have veto power. So that's why communities don't reopen their comprehensive plan every year because it's actually a very revolutionary process. And that includes screening areas, unfortunately.
So the training discussion has been on the planning commission agenda for seems like a year now, and then it wrapped up in July or so. Is that the one comprehensive plan? Would that be updated? Is that the
That could be handled for our code. So the comprehensive plan is kind of the overarching vision and values plus. So it is, and we're required to understand how it was developed by the state. And then if the legislature does preemption, which they sometimes do, then that's handled usually in our code because the comprehensive plan is for kind of a 20,000 square foot. And then in Oregon, if you have competing, if you have two things like health and safety support in our comprehensive plan, but also there's things about density and things of that nature. So sometimes you have to weigh the impact of one against the other. And then we're also required to have a 20-year global inventory in the state. So it's a lot of competing. I don't know a lot of that it's going around.
Well, I think we did my time. Thank you, apologies to you also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Dominique Nash.
I am a fairly new resident of Gearhart. I bought a very old decrepit home on South Ocean Avenue about 3.5 years ago and rebuilt it and did not know how much I would enjoy living in Gearhart. So I bought a second home on North Marion for the use of my family. And we both have enjoyed my time in Gearhart tremendously. I don't have any experience in planning. My involvement in Gearhart has been the Gearhart Association. I'm vice president, and I enjoy working with people who volunteer there and to hopefully improving life for everybody in Gearhart. My background, I am not bred in my late husband. I had cow operation on 6,000 acre ranch in Prineville for 15 years, and prior to that, I had started a ranch in Planet Falls for a few years. So I have liked Oregon. My daughter currently lives in Portland, so I spend actually more than half of my time here. First of my background is I've been involved in gardens, probably my whole adult life. I created a 2-acre garden in the Pasadena area, which 2 acres is pretty big for the Los Angeles area, and converted it from a pretty typical English garden to a Mediterranean, which was the water state, a very important thing in Southern California. Part of my enjoyment with Gearhart is just watching it rain. We have been suffering such a drought in California for years that I love seeing the rain. Anyway, the garden was quite a success and has been on, I sold it probably a year ago. It was on the national tours, it's been in one Stewart magazine, and it's also featured in a large book of outstanding gardens in America. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm sad to not have it anymore. I'm a past president of the Arboretum Foundation. I've served 3 terms, writing and raising money for 126-acre county-owned, run by the Arboretum Foundation. I served 3 terms as president of that. I'm involved in the Gardens Conservancy of America, which raises money to preserve historic gardens across the United States. So they keep them from falling into developers' hands, and in most cases, spending a lot of money to destroy them to the former garden. Also, last person about Hamilton Gardens, including art gallery in San Leandro. And I'm afraid if I regurgitate everything that everyone else has said, people would start falling asleep here. But I will try to make my answers as brief and state ahead of time that I agree with probably everything that's been said. If I could just say, ditto, would be fantastic. Okay.
Do you believe that the comprehensive plan, as written, is still applicable? Does it need to be changed? If so, how?
I believe that it's applicable and that there's enough flexibility in it, in the language to allow for the goals stated to be pursued in the foreseeable future. Period.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts for now and the near future for Gearhart? Please be as specific as possible and address Gearhart maintaining his residential community feel, or would you prefer additional commercial and tourist growth? And how will they pertain to the comprehensive plan?
My thoughts for the future of Gearhart are very much those stated in the comprehensive plan summary, primarily to preserve the low density and semi-rural characteristics of Gearhart, which is why so many residents have chosen to live here, and to be extremely conscious of our coastal and our marine environments. I believe we've experienced a growth in our permanent resident population since COVID. And for this reason, we should probably look at opportunities to utilize existing commercially zoned properties to enhance services to all residents. Encouraging Gearhart to be more of a tourist destination is not high on my personal list of priorities.
Thank you very much. How do you see your roles in the member of the government describe your understanding of the relationship and interaction between the planning commission and the city council?
Planning commission members study and make recommendations to the city council on matters involving zoning, land use, and other matters related to the comprehensive plan.
Okay, so number 4 is, are you aware of any present or future conflict of interest you might have as a member of the planning commission if the situation should arise? Would you excuse yourself from this?
I'm not aware of any issues that would cause a conflict of interest, and if any would ever arise, I would certainly recuse myself from locals. I'd like to be really brief, so I'm just going to raise one issue. I was looking at some past minutes to just familiarize myself with the types of issues that are brought before the planning commission. And of course, what caught my eye was the issue involving trees, a policy involving renewable trees and such. And I was wondering if any recommendations on the planning commission council on that.
The planning commission has gone through this. They're making recommendations to the city council. The city council will be visiting this in January city council meeting. Yeah. All things.
That's not far away. So now I don't have any further questions. Okay, thank you.
Shelley O'Neill. Yep,
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
yes, we can.
Great. I have a little trouble hearing you in room, so I'm going to do the best I can to hear what you're saying, but I pretty much know what the flow is, so I think I'll be fine.
Do you have an opening statement you'd like to?
Well, I would like to just share a little bit about myself quickly. I've lived in Gearhart for about 2.5 years now, and I own a home on North Ocean. I've visited Gearhart for a number of years prior to that, and I have fallen in love with the town, I always say. And I have a huge desire to see it thrive. It's an amazing place like no other in Oregon for sure. I actively participate in what the town has to offer. I play golf. I'm a member at Gearhart Golf Links. I bike. I go to the beach. I hike and run. I use the tennis courts. I've played pickleball there. I use the parks. And I love going to the restaurants and what it has to offer. And I'd like to say I'm willing to spend time and learn whatever I need to ensure its success, and I want to contribute. And this is an area that I found that I felt like I could contribute. Using my professional skills to help drive good decisions through its city plan. My past experience has included, I have my MBA, I've worked in business, I've owned my own business, I've worked in portfolio and project management, and I did real estate for a few years back in California, a long, long time ago. But it has given me an interest and an understanding to some extent about land use and neighborhoods and development.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Do you believe that the comprehensive plan as written is still applicable? Does it need to be changed? If so, how?
I do believe it's still applicable, and I don't see any need for any changes in it at this point. I see that it allows for what is immediately needed for current and near-term future. It covers all applicable Oregon planning goals that need to be addressed, and it addresses those specifically to Gearhart needs regarding people, managing urban development, protecting our natural resources, managing our coastal and ocean resources, and it covers them all, I think, at a reasonable level and allows for what the town needs for current state.
Hi, and thank you very much for applying. What are your thoughts for now in the near future for Gearhart? Please be as specific as possible and address Gearhart maintaining its residential community feel. Or would you prefer additional commercial and tourist growth, and how they pertain to the comprehensive plan?
I would like the town to remain a fairly quiet, what I call a Nantucket-like community in its neighborhoods. It offers nature-inspired relaxation, opportunities for activity. It encourages community. I would like to see it remain primarily owner-occupied residential with limited rentals. I would like to see it continue to protect its natural resources and focus on decreasing likelihood of natural disasters in the community. I would like to see a lively small downtown area. We have a great infrastructure in place for that. And I believe that we have the provisions in the comprehensive plan to provide for that, for what the town needs with zoning and parking availability. I wouldn't want it to become a tourist destination, but I would like to see it thrive for the residents that live here. I also just want to note real quick, being that I would be new to this role, I would also want to understand more of what the other residences and owners in Gearhart would like to see, because I would see myself as in the position in service of the community. So I would just want to say, those are my particular feelings, but I would be here to represent the people.
Okay, then bringing to my question, which was, how do you see your role as a planning commission member in the city government? Do you just describe your understanding of the relationship and interaction between the planning commission and the city council?
Right. And again, I would be learning a little bit about exactly what my role would be, but from what I understand of the role, I would be here to reflect Gearhart community values, which I just touched on. I would be here to recommend policies in line with our plan and community desires. I would be here to help interpret and apply ordinances, educate the public on what those are, helping make land use decisions, communicating with Gearhart city staff and elected officials, helping to vision for long-term planning. I would be doing homework on behalf of the city and the city staff, studying other matters relating to planning and development for the city, as well as some surrounding areas potentially. And studying subdivision of land, which I think was one of the more recent questions that have come up.
And are you aware of any present or future conflict of interest that you might have as a member of the planning commission? If the situation should arise, would you excuse yourself from voting?
I do not have any conflict of interest, and I do not see any opportunity for one to arise. But if it would, I certainly would be happy to excuse myself from voting. Again, we want what's best for the city.
Thank you.
All right, do you, as a candidate for the planning commission, have a question of any of the members of the city council?
I do have a question. I'm curious how often you get land use variance requests that come in, how often that is, and how you typically address them as far as considering your overall comprehensive plan, such as if you saw a number of requests coming in that were very similar, would you take that into consideration then to look at the comprehensive plan and make a decision as to whether it needed to change given the wants and desires of the community?
I can help answer that.
That would be good.
Yeah. Not many city managers attend all other planning commission meetings, but because we're a small town, we do. So no, the variances are not frequent, which is nice.
Yeah.
We've had very few of those. And then you are right on track in regards to the comprehensive plan is the filter to kind of the coffee filter for all those variances. And so we go through that they go through that prior to making any decision.
Great, good to hear. I have one other question, and I probably could come up with a lot more, but I'll ask one more. That is, I didn't see like a mission and vision to help guide your policies, like written or included in the comprehensive plan. I'm not sure if that's usually applicable, but I'm wondering if you have something in place to help guide that plan from the standpoint of a mission and vision.
So the comprehensive plan is designed to address the state's land use goals, so that's its primary purpose. So, like goal one, which is public participation, and then goal two, which is coordination between different impacted government users. And so the elements that are in the comprehensive plan primarily deal with that. There is a little bit of that vision that is in the summary. But traditionally, the comprehensive plan has really been more of a land use tool.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you for the opportunity to apply.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. I'm just gonna say that there's one seat available. The decision comes down at the end of the city council meeting. And don't feel like you need to say that here's the choice. If you want to, that's fine. It's just it's at the end of the meeting. And there is one seat now. I am going to recommend the two gentlemen that are already serving to stay on because I like consistency and continuity in the planning commission. So thank you very much for coming. And we're going to open the city council meeting in just 2 minutes. But first, we are going to, as we go right into the council meeting. But before we go any farther, I would like to make an addition to the agenda, and I mean consensus. I would like to talk about setting the wage for the new training officer. And I need consensus to add it to the agenda. Okay, I agree. So we're going to add it as new business. And at that time, I don't need to discuss what the motion is going to be. Do I, Peter? Okay. All right. So, having said that, this is the December 6th, 2023 City Council meeting for the city of Gearhart. Is there any conflict of interest? No. No? All right. Next on is the approval of the regular meeting. The minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting of the regular meeting of city council for Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. Second.
Any discussion, corrections?
Counselors, hear me?
What?
Christine.
Yes, Christine, what did I do?
Nothing. I just wanted to give you a heads up with the microphone situation. It's really terrible online for us here. And so if you could help us out by when you speak, not looking down at your paper. So for example, hold your paper up so that you're projecting outward. Chat is also recording, so we will have a clear audio, but for right now, we can't make out really anything that's being said.
Great, thanks a lot for telling me now. I appreciate it. All right, so we have a motion. Is there any discussion, any corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes. Go to the work session. This is Monday, October 30th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I present a motion that we accept the minutes from the work session of the city council Monday, October 30th, 2023.
I'll second that. All right, there's been a second. Thank you. There's been a second. Is there any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. 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 All right, that passes. Everyone's got a copy of the planning commission report. Is there any questions directed at Chad for this?
No, so you said in January?
Yes, that's the plan.
Anyone else? No other questions going to the mayor's report? Very limited reports, that's what I do. I've been up to the comments twice, investigating and moving things. I actually was the man who mopped the ceiling, and I feel better for it. I've had several meetings with some counselors and Justine about issues, and that's all I've got as far as the mayor's report. Since Deborah isn't here, I'll go to Rita.
Well, I was really honored to be invited by Chief Como to be part of the, I shouldn't say interrogation, to the proposed division chief be a part of the interview process. And it was a learning experience for me. It was on Sunday. And we got quite a good spread. Did that. And there was professional fire and actually EMTs from all over the learning experiences. Thank you, Chief Public.
Okay. Dana.
So start with my shout outs. Shout outs this month go to the citizens who have been decorating downtown for us. Taylor Kalshner is responsible for the decorations on the city hall here, and Ellen Pendergast is responsible for the decorations at the crossing on the lights there. So if you see them, tell them thank you. Also, to the Murphys for their Christmas tree. As always, it just seems like, well, you actually know it's the opening of the holiday season with their Christmas tree goes up. And then also a shout out to the firefighters. I happened to be at Seaside at their parade of lights on Broadway, and I got some great video of our Gearhart firefighters participating in that parade. It's kind of fun. I don't know who's the kid who's in the uniform the whole time, but that was the best part of the whole parade for me.
Wasn't yours.
Yeah. So this month I did not get to the League of Oregon City small city meeting down in Rockaway Beach because I was not feeling up to it that day. That was a big migraine for me. So unfortunately I missed that one. I'm going to be up for the next one. This month I worked with staff on reviewing the employee handbook and recommending some updates which we're going to be which are still in process. I interacted with a number of cities or citizens with concerns related to the ODFW complaints and helped guide them as far as who were the appropriate people to launch their complaints with, or the entities to launch their complaints with, so that they can see some action on it. And also, I talked with some citizens who were concerned about sign issues. They wanted to share their thoughts with me. So I did that. I also attended the Gearhart Rural Fire District meeting last night and listened to their discussion regarding the contract. And I want to give a couple of reminders since I have your hostage here. First of all, there was information went on a blog about the holiday tour of lights, and Justine has been going back and forth talking about it. Justine's done a lot of work on this. The city has received a lot of calls about this as far as how can you get on the map or the maps. And if you don't know, you can see it on the blog. The Seaside Chamber of Commerce has, along with the Electric Outlet, has initiated a holiday tour of lights. Their second year going, where they create a map of the houses in Seaside, and we've also invited Gearhart to participate where, people had decorated for the holidays, and you could drive around in your car and wish to and look at all of these, and then there's also a voting process. However, they have not quite worked out how you're going to vote. But there is a voting process, and there will be a prize, and my understanding is that the last day, the winners will be announced on December 21st, so I hope they're gonna figure it out pretty quick. They had trouble getting the maps out initially, but I called the grocery outlet today, or that they do have the maps. The maps are just inside the door, and when I spoke to the Chamber of Commerce a couple weeks ago, they said that if you were a late participant, and you wanted to add your home, and you didn't know about it, and you were just now decorating your home, wanted to be added, they would be updating the maps as they receive new participants. So it's not too late to join in on that if you want. Also, they have some information on their site about chasing down Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Apparently, if you go in the grocery outlet, there's a Rudolph there, and there are some clues that you can pick up that will lead to other points. It's almost like a hunt. Yeah, it's like a scavenger hunt type thing for Rudolph, and it all starts down there. And apparently, some of the clues are hidden here in Gearhart. And then the last thing I wanted to do while I have you all hostage on my time is remind everybody of the Whitmere Real Estate Shared Award Drive, where they are looking for new or gently used coats and blankets for adults and children. On the card that they sent out to everybody, they stated the deadline was December 20th, but Melissa recently posted something on social media saying the deadline is the 17th. So I would go with the earlier date if you're really interested in participating in that, and I hope you all know. I too participated in the Connex foray. The Connexes are up at the water tower. They are 3 metal boxes that contain all of the city's emergency supplies and some personal supplies and barrels through our program. Paulina accompanied me up there, and after we were able to figure out how to get the connexes open, which took us, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. Numbers 1 and 3 of the connexes are in great shape. We just did some tightening up in there. We made sure the masters fit with what the supplies are that are there. Number 2 connex, which is in the middle, is a disaster. It was like a rainforest walking in there. The entire ceiling was covered in droplets of water. The boxes were wet, damp. There's mold growing. So we moved stuff out of there as much as we could. We put some things in plastic bins, get the boxes out of there. We alerted Carrie. Carrie went back up and locked the ceiling and helped us move some of the heavier stuff. We've still got work to do up there. I don't know what the next step is going to be for the city. Maybe put a second roof on there, maybe put a ceiling. I don't know what Chad got figured out who that, but it can't stay as it is. It's we went back up there, we put a desiccant up there, and 2 weeks later we went back up and it was very wet in there again. So that needs to be figured out so that our spent money is not going to waste and our supplies are getting. Secondly, I attended a meeting with Chad and John Wickersham, who's I think he's the assistant director of Land Conservancy. I think he's the assistant director of the North Coast Land Conservancy. We met and John went through the Land Conservancy's 5-year strategic plan, which they have not finalized. He went through their draft with us. He was going around talking to all the cities. Gearhart was the first city that he went to discuss how they can be a service to the cities in the wildlife protection. I would dearly love to, I think they've got a lot of great things to say along those lines. I think they could teach
things. And I would really love to have, once they have the finalized, plan written up, I would love to have him come in and present it to the city council. Lastly, the elk, issue, it's not dead by any means. We have compiled, numerous questions that will be going, via, probably via lawyer, to the Fish and Wildlife Commission, to get a records request done on all of our questions, because we feel that, our questions weren't entirely answered by Paul Atwood. So we're going to continue to pursue that. I just wanted everybody to know that. That's it.
Okay, I just want to add that the comments, the middle comments that has the condensation problem, we moved almost everything into plastic bins and got rid of any cardboard that was up there. So we're not looking at a serious problem with the mold, but we do have mold in 2 places on the roof that we are going to address, and that is ongoing.
As far as correct factors and schedule and inspection.
Yeah, that will work with, we'll work on it to do it more frequently, especially because the Connexes weren't expected to do this. Is the other 2 are performing just like we're supposed to. The one in the center is not, it's of a different quality. We have an idea of how to fix it, which is going to be drilling small ventilation holes. We're looking for some colors to get the colors ventilation holes, and then change everything out and all of them in plastic, or boxes of plastic. So that all of the cases happens to the other 2. Yeah, this is a conversation we've got to have. I thought I sent you, I think I did provide that as some of that information with the plan before we're going to do that.
And we just, again, I would recommend the
More frequently.
scheduled inspection. Something that we check the box on bi-weekly, a month, every month, whatever, whatever you guys do it.
Yeah, we had a Connex at the fire hall for 20 years. Never compensated, never nothing. Those 2 other 2 are doing great. This one's a mystery, but it does indicate that we need to spend more time keeping an eye on it.
Well, I know that someone after happens in this environment.
The reason the middle Connex has got the compensation problem, it's a single layer of roof. So if we have something in the neighborhood of a double layer of silicone paint on top, that'll insulate the roof, and that should solve the problem. The heat differential that causes the condensation. After we get rid of the water that's inside. That's my take. But we'll go on. City officer reports. Chief Joshua Gregory.
How's everybody doing? Good evening. Just real quick, status of the note, we had looked at one this cycle this month. That 3, a trespass, harassment, and 6 disturbances, 1 fraud case, 2 motor vehicle accidents. There were 29 traffic infractions and 15 citizen assists. Move on to Officer Rares. He did a already started the academy. I don't know if everyone knew he got an early spot on the other 4. So that's great news. He will be here for a 2-week holiday break coming up in about 3 weeks. So we'll be back for that, and we'll see him around the office. His graduation date is now March 29th. We're looking at extending, we're going to have to continue our FED process, the training process in the field. But I've got a projected date of mid to have it solo. The graduation, absolutely. Graduation information. So he's enjoying it so far. Ways to go. Vehicle upfitting, we just did the first vehicle sale this week. I should be, if everything goes on schedule, picking the first one up and cycling through our next one this Friday. So like in about 2 weeks, you'll see all the rules, that's it. And where they should be, so. Once we're still working on tiers 1 and 2, the project manager, we should have projected in date of those tiers by the end of the year. Then I'll move on to me doing it on myself through tiers 3 to 5, and then our procedures. So we're looking at, I'm projecting my son, I should have to find that. Sorry. I completed a management training that was required for DPSST, and then my father week did was about 2 weeks ago. What that's done, and I'll get that certification. That's still 2 years on the job, but everything else, it's all requirements for that, so that's good news. And I received a lot of compliments on our batches. The new batches getting a lot of attention. So I appreciate us. That's all I have to do.
Can I ask you?
Absolutely.
What's the difference between step 1, 2, and 3?
So theft one would be your major theft. It really has to do with dollars. So theft 3 would start from 1 penny essentially to $500, and then 500 to 1,000 would be theft 2, and maybe get above 1,000 is theft 1. And there's different types of thefts as well, like that deception, receiving, or misplaced property.
I do have a question. The trailer that was stolen from that area in the records, I think,
That was the first step, that was our theft 1. The victim called me since I had left today, so it's one of the first notes on the calling back in the morning. There was an atypical locate put out for that trailer. It's been a lot of work. I might be trying to get video from Jackson's. There was a video up there looking at the video. And so we're trying to work it, but unfortunately it's not going to occur.
Did it have a lot on it, or was it?
Yeah, it was the trailer was on the spot.
About maybe it should have time. And I don't know if this is not that I don't know if this is a common occurrence. It is, but I know at least about a year and a half ago, another trailer was stolen on there. So
It's a big deal around our area. Trailers get stolen quite often. A lot of times they have horses down.
they just put them up to the vehicle. Have a trailer
It's
stored somewhere.
in a shop or in a shop.
It's small.
It's small. That's just a story.
Thank you. All right. Chief Joshua Como. Thank you, Mayor. Those last numbers is that's for you from our November 2023. The month of November, we had a total of 39 incidents for the month. And that broke down with 22 inside the city limits and 13 was in our district. We sent out 84 times. 3 was the seaside, once for building fire, once for wildfire, and 1 time needed some extra manpower. Went to Astoria once for building fire as well. And then we received 8 of them once this last month from Seaside Fire. They got their ambulance up and running with that, and that was not able to transport our patient with that. So Seaside Fire came with their transport capable state licensed ambulance to transport the patient for us. So we did not have to wait for the longer than minutes. Advocating the patient care with that. How that compares to the previous year, November 22 had 61 calls for the month. We ended November 22 on calls 669, and this year on 700, so we're 41 calls to date than last year. And then as of today, I think we're 50 calls away from hitting last year's rate. So last year was 757, today we're at 707 with that. We did have an assessment center on Sunday where we interviewed in a very good detail with candidate we have. Our only one candidate did through up to the assessment day. But it came through with very, very good remarks and glowing remarks from the panelists. And division chiefs and other chiefs from the county, as well as councilmen, so they can for assistance with that. And how we any questions? That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. We're going to. Ask
The city started receiving our 2023-24 property tax revenue. Information provided by the county shows that the city of Gearhart's total overall assessed value increased by 4.3%, which is slightly higher than what we put in the budget. We put in 3%. Remember that 4.3 represents an overall growth in Gearhart's taxing district. It doesn't necessarily represent each individual property value growth rate. So as an individual property, according to the county, most properties increase a mandatory 8%. Don't increase more than that. So there's just been some other growth. There are several factors that can impact growth on property values, such as property improvements and new development, which is happening all over the country. So, and we have some pretty high property tax values. So when you develop a piece of property that is oceanfront, it does significantly impact the assessed values. The county assessor's office said that as of our last tax turnover, current property tax collections are at 88%, which is really good. So that means that they've imposed all the taxes from all the taxing districts, and up to this point, 88% of those property taxes have been collected, which means 11% is left, and that's really good right now. I mean, primarily November is the largest month, but people also make payments, so only 11% needs to be made up by June 30. So that's great news. Property tax revenues impact the general fund, the debt service fund, and the road district fund. So those are our three funds that the city has also received another state revenue sharing payment, which was higher than anticipated, hopefully due to our population growth, and enough to pay all revenue share grants awards except one, which we paid immediately upon receiving our adequate funds, which I'm estimating is going to be around February. This particular awardee also clearly stated on their application that they just needed the funds during fiscal year 22, 23, 24. So technically they just would like the funds by June 30th. So we'll be fine there. And as a reminder, next year's grant process will be clearer regarding the release of award funds on our application process. And there will be a discussion with our budget committee regarding distribution dates. That's something we still need to talk about, and I kind of want to formalize and make sure that the applications are a little more clear about when they need the money and when the city can actually release those funds. Because we don't get those that money up front. We get it throughout the whole year, and we can't really afford to run that in deficit in case we don't get that money. In January, we'll start advertising for 2 vacant budget committee positions. Although having a financial background is a bonus, there is no financial experience required. Just an interest in getting involved in the community, and it really isn't a lengthy time commitment. Maybe the meeting might be long, but overall throughout the year, it's not a big commitment. Members must be 18 years of age, a registered voter, and they must reside within the Gearhart city limits. And we'll be blogging that, so watch the blog for more information. I have received the finalized audit documents this week, and we will be coordinating with the auditors to present a summary to the council. So we'll have one of them give a brief presentation. The only immaterial finding was our organizational structure, which is due to our limited size staff. And this is a standard yearly audit comment that we have always gotten. The city has internal controls to address this issue. So we practice things like dual statement verification, audit adjustments that are reviewed by more than one person, monthly STR dual verification, and financial reports that are submitted to the council. And we have a third-party audit.
So we have some other things that are in place because we know we have a small staff and we can't afford to hire more people. Business license renewals were mailed out to our registered businesses just last week. And just a reminder that our business code said that they run from January 1 to December 31st, so we're going with that. It's a brand new application, but there was no changes to the fees. So, any questions? Nice.
I have a question. When did the franchise fees for Northwest Natural Gas and Century Link come in?
I'll look for them. I should have them. I think we get a one-time payment on that.
Is it usually towards the spring, you know?
I can't remember.
Okay, that's right. That's all right. I just realized that all of the franchises here, they haven't paid theirs.
I should know that. I'm sorry, but I'll get that information.
Thank you.
Page 3, Pacific Power street lights. Are we paying them as a contract?
We have streetlights. That's a line item in our budget. We have to pay for the electricity for our streetlights that are running around town.
Okay, that's
Power poles.
so that payment is for the electricity.
Correct.
Okay.
So we get an invoice and on the bill, if you ever want to see it, each individual streetlight is on that sheet. But it's just one bill.
Is that a stupid question?
No.
There might be other bills that, you know, each one of the city will determine that it's in the street light.
Who owns the street? Do we or do they?
Well, we have to pay for them to put them in there. But we have to pay if we want them. So.
Okay. Second question, page 6. What is Elon Financial Services?
So Elon Financial is the credit card that our company, that we have 2 credit cards. Chad has a credit card and I have a credit card. And so that is a credit card that we use. We have some recurring things on the credit card, like some technology things that are monthly payable. And then if we need emergency items that we can either do a purchase order for, you know, we're doing Amazon or something that we don't have an account with, then we can use the credit card. And then I keep those receipts and reconcile to that.
Page 26. Yeah, 26. What are we paying for here?
So this is a particular thing, last month was a very extremely large month for plan reviews. So his bill varies month to month. For example, I wrote a check today for the month of November that was for about $4,400. So it completely depends upon the amount of permits that come in. So what happens is Angelina verifies all of the permits, submits the invoice to me, and then I take that and verify against the revenues we've received to make sure that I agree, and then we pay him. He gets 75% of all the permits received. And the month before I think was really low, so it totally depends on how much we take in.
7, City of Warrington for water purchase. Do we purchase water from them every single month of the year?
Well, they're like us, they require a base, so we have to pay a base to have a meter, just like we do, whether you use 0 or 10 ponds, you still have to pay them $44, dollars.
So it's 12,000.
We did purchase just a little bit, I think, because I don't think it's that much per, but we do have to pay a base fee every month. Now I have to look. On one of them, we have 2 meters, we have meter 6 and 2.
That's not an annual bill, but 12,000.
That would have been the water purchase,
That's a lot of water.
or at least part of that. Whatever. And that was finishing off the dry season there. We're now on board.
Okay, page, I'm so sorry, page 31, sound and earth strategies for the chemical water analysis. Is that all stuff that's done at the water treatment plant? Ongoing basis or?
So I'm not exactly sure the process, but Sound and Earth is a company that we use. We get an RFP for them because it's a pretty large amount of money every year. They tend to bill quarterly, so we don't see that every month. But we did do an RFP, and they were the only ones that did it, but they also have a historical reference with us that we've used in the past. And so they help us and do studies, but I'm not exactly sure.
We're working on a comprehensive report right at this moment. We just finished the draft and it has all the water chemical analyzation, has the performance of the aquifer. It monitors. And we send all of this information to the state every year. This year, as of all the years before, it appears as though that our system is working wonderfully, that it's working as designed. There's no issues that we're worried about. So that report will be coming out here probably in about 2 weeks.
I don't think that they study they don't study the composition of the water. They study how we have a permit with the state so that we can use so much water. I think they study yes. Yeah. But I don't think that they're not doing, we use a company on a portal that does like, arson. Yes.
Gotcha. So this charge, number 8, which was substantial, is that because of just the study and the circumstances?
That's putting this water report together
Yeah, so it's not like we don't do this on a regular basis.
every year.
Once a year.
Once a year.
Well, it's about $60,000. Oh, they just bill us for that. And they bill us each one of those line items. I separate them out. Even though it's one invoice, I separate them out because they're for 3 different types of services they provide.
Yeah.
Just so that when I pull up this invoice, I can see more than what you guys see. You know, I just have more invoice loans or something. So that's why you see 3 lines. These are 3 different, like Chris cited, and we have these ones, they're subcontractor professionals that he would be on there.
Last question, state forester, what service do they provide?
We have to pay them every year to provide fire service for property that's outside. So like the water tower, they provide not a rural fire because we still will respond, but we have to pay them to do because it's in their area. So we have to pay.
So they're evaluating the fire.
No, they're monitoring.
It's a fee for fire protection.
Oh,
So that way, and if there's a fire, they will come and protect that particular property. We pay a fee because we own those 2 pieces of property that are outside the city, Gearhart, which is in their jurisdiction. So we pay them.
great, thank you very much, Sarah.
No, that's okay. We get an invoice for it every year.
All right, moving on. Get lost.
So I attended the Portland State population projection meeting earlier this month. It was for the counties of Plaza, Columbia, and all the cities in those counties, as well as the cities that were not part of the metro. So the Clackamas County cities that are in metro and the county overall. There were only 2 listed with that person, which was surprising to me. And the 2 Portland State staffers that are putting together the information, neither of them had worked on prior population studies. So I pointed out to them that they were dramatically wrong in their projections. And they said, well, can you just do another one? And I said, it costs $500,000. So the accuracy of your projections is really important so that we know they are available and to be carried out. They are still working on their numbers. I gave them, actually, I gave them the information for what they had projected and what the actual numbers were for all the county. And they were all flying between 4 by a factor of 4 to like a factor of 10. With the exception of Cannon Beach, they have significantly overestimated Cannon Beach's population. And I just think that's because of the number of vacation rentals. There are a couple of zero movement. So Cannon Beach lost population, but everyone else gained it dramatically. And then again, the number of homes that are priority homes went up by 5%. So I think that, and I told them I think that trend is going to continue. As more people retire, they're going to leave the Portland metro area, and their homes in Gearhart are going to become their primary homes, and that's going to impact our all of our services and the services we're expected to provide. I think that's why we're seeing the fire call and everything going up. It's just there are more people there than more houses being built. And also explain to them that that the acute shortage of housing makes it to the hospital. It makes it tough to hire police officers, firefighters, first responders. And so I think the good news is they were really receptive to that information. They presented their data in a way that I think was not entirely clear. So they're thinking now, instead of looking at a 10 and 20 year timeline, they're looking at 4 years. And so, I explained to them, we are required to have a 20-year global inventory. The county takes a comprehensive look at that. So we really need your population projections for the 10 and 20 year period. And Chad and I have talked about, he's gathered the data for the amount of growth that we've experienced in years. The first 3 years, so 20 to 23. And if we continue with the numbers, we're going to have a population increase by around 29%. We're talking about a really significant percentage compared to what has been projected in the past, which is something like 6%. And so again, I just think that we don't have the land. Gearhart doesn't have the land to accommodate this type of growth. And so we're getting that growth now. So all other cities in the county are going to have to take that growth. But with these artificially low population numbers, they're not going to be able to do these expansion. They're not going to be able to go through that. And so that's how you deal with growth under state law. This is all driven by state law. So to do a rezone, you need that. You need those accurate population projections, and you need the accurate inventory. So it's just, I talked to them after the meeting, and I just told them how critically important really all this is for people to continue living here as people age and younger people are doing this sort of job. So we'll be continuing to track that process pretty closely. They're going to have kind of final numbers to present in March, where they're going to have to adopt those numbers, and so there'll be I think opportunities are advocacy. I do think there are other people from Placer County on the call, but just getting word out on this it's so under the radar, and but it has such a significant impact because we're only going to get the direct funds to do this sort of total inventory analysis like once every 10 years. So if they're not, they were so off that we're getting a new opportunity. We can't use it in our work. We might be able to use some because we get round truth their numbers, but others signs, one of the things that Chad and I talked about is, I mean, as long as we're talking about temporary signs, these are specifically political in nature, but it might make sense to do another temporary sign that deals with like holiday signage. So I can either draft that separately and bring it back, or I can tack that onto this. And we can do it all at once. I'm open to either. I looked at a lot of the, what cities in Oregon have done outside of Oregon regarding the political side, because that's federally protected speech. But I also took a look at what some people have done with temporary signs, and I don't think it'll be that hard to integrate that. And it'll primarily be the city doing those signs in the city right away, I expect. So we can talk about all that later, though.
What do you mean by holiday signs?
Well, like if there's 4th of July, and if there's 4th of July, we have parades and things of that nature, or police cleanup, those sort of cleanup signs we're doing. Technically, those are temporary signs, of course.
You're not saying like for holiday signs, like Merry Christmas.
No.
Okay. Just I also have a question. Why does Portland stay doing this population projection for us? They have a plan to do that?
Yeah, so the state legislation states that Portland State is the entity that does the population projections.
Is the state legislation aware of the thing?
I have made multiple electives aware of, and this is something that when Senator Johnson, Senator County, we had a lot of discussion about. And when I had a meeting with her, the woman that built the rest of Senator Johnson's term, and she is at Reed College, actually had one of the Reed students put together a spreadsheet of the differences between the things. So, and I believe Senator Armitage. So, yeah, people are aware. And one of the points I've made is that for a lot of communities, the U.S. Census provides population estimates. So, yeah, that's kind of considered standard. But yeah, it's the state law specifies.
Do we pay for the state?
The state of Oregon is one.
So we see if you're hard.
I don't understand. I mean, we pay indirectly through taxes, but.
In all of the state apportionments, the cigarette tax, all of those taxes are based off of the division of population based on this. It's in the document. It was this document, in the reference document.
So our share of gas tax is at how much gas is sold in Gearhart. It's based off of Portland State's population estimate for Gearhart.
Cigarettes.
That's true. Cigarettes is true of alcohol. It's true of.
Wait, so you're saying all those estimates are based off of faulty projections?
Well, there's some cities where it's been very accurately estimated.
But for us,
The Oregon coast in particular has been dramatic. The city of Portland has been dramatic over what their actual population is. And it just doesn't end up, in a lot of counties, the county that has like the earliest, letter in the alphabet, it is, slightly over. And then a lot of other cities are under, I don't know why that is, but, like in Washington County, Banks was, I think, over, and then all these other cities are under. So if you could just spot check it by looking at the city that's first and, then, it's, I don't know, It's something that I've been aware of and concerned about and talked about the city manager for a while, and until we got the 2020 census, it was like impossible to improve. But I hope that the numbers are more
Peter's keeping in mind.
Thank you. Let's move on. John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So code enforcement's going fairly okay. We've got a couple of issues that are going to end up in court because people are not taking care of things like they're supposed to, but most are, which is great. We have the Christmas tree was going to go out this week. They got the way they so it should come up pretty quick. We decided for guys to go see get that done. We have done a little bit of training. I have on the new meters that we've installed around town, and this is part of an AMI metering project that we're working with to see what the benefits of automated metering infrastructure would be for the city of Gearhart. And so far, it's pretty neat. You can see minute by minute what people are using as far as water on commercial meters that we have installed, and it's been helpful to look at that for leak detection. So the benefits of that is leak detection, faster response to our customers, less leaking because we'll catch it quicker, and also potentially that the system and the software will start talking to each other. The water treatment facility will say, hey, I made this much water. And the software system will say, hey, we saw this much come in. Wait a minute, there's a difference. We need to alert somebody. So there's some pretty neat things as far as water conservation. It's an expensive project, so we're looking at very carefully, and I'll let you know more this time. Attended lots of meetings around town. Some of you talked about those. We're doing some asbestos testing at the fire station just to verify that situation. I did, and as you saw in your packet, I had to decline the grants, and it was for the ODOT sidewalk program. We had been awarded that grant based on some old figures that we used kind of during and before COVID. So it just wasn't enough for us to complete the project. The first hurdle. The second hurdle was actually getting people to come in and want to bid on the work. Bids on the work that we did. I talked to a few of the concrete folks around here. Concrete seems to be taking quite a hit. Larger groups are much smaller these days. We've lost a couple of our concrete contractors. And so I submitted that letter to Oregon Department of Transportation, and they acknowledged it, and then they said, please apply again next time because you were one of the top scored grants. So we will be doing that. On the grant side, we've gotten it. I think we talked about this last time, but we did receive the grant for the emergency power supply over up at the water reservoir. So we'll be starting that project soon. We just were notified that we received one grant, 2 projects for our computer system and software and security. And we're working on another grant with our insurance company to help the police department, but we haven't gotten through that one yet. But it's something pretty good. I know people who are working on it. Then just also a reminder, we've got the work session set up Tuesday, December 12th at 6:30. And that's what I have for my update as of then.
Questions? So where do you see the power supply of the water tower? What's that kind of like?
It's going to look like a standalone diesel generator that will go up there and will auto start when power outage goes. That will provide us with information from the water reservoir and the water levels up there. It will also provide us with backup power for that ham shack that we have up there, emergency power, and eventually probably some power for those connections. But we're going to have to look and see how that's going to work. But that's what that will do. And we'll be able to take this unit and move it to anywhere in the community that we need it as well. It'll be on wheels.
It's on wheels.
It is. But it will jack it up off the wheels for, it's long-term storage, but it should work pretty well. We did try to go for solar, Councilor, but they said that that's just not the reliable situation for that particular situation. So they helped us and we went in a different direction. Any other questions for me?
Okay. Move on to visitors. Rita.
Hi. I want to say why we're taking up your time with the bench committee again. So I will tell you, the bench committee has gone as far as they can. Before proceeding, we need consensus from the city council to proceed further. So the bench committee consists of Councilor Sharon Pepper and Kathy Zimmerman and I. We have done a complete inventory of the current benches, locations with the plaques and their locations. The current benches were placed by the Gearhart Homeowners Association, and although there is no record of their still maintaining a presence in that, it was presumed there was a handshake deal that the city would take over those benches as well. So, Mrs. Zimmerman went on a road trip down the coast to other cities to look at their benches, and she's reported back. She's taken pictures of those. And we've also, as a committee, gone to the downtown benches and looked and see what they look like, what they need. So, we like the current view benches, and we try to get those replicated. But the gentleman who put those benches out no longer has
The form.
the forms
for lots.
and he died. So we couldn't replicate those. So we tried to get, like I said, tried to get those replicated. We couldn't, so we've got a replacement look, so to speak. We pinpointed some proposed locations, and Chad has that map. We've given him the map, and I think prepared some for it right here.
Yeah, right there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this isn't good.
Yeah, it's the whole package.
Oh, it is the whole package. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Chad. So.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to describe.
I'll just pass this down, because I already know.
There's 8 copies there for you, if you'd like.
Thank you. Thank you. So, we had about 25 people on a waiting list for benches. So we tried to pinpoint that many new locations that will, oh, there are, I get it. Thank you. No. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So let's see, so we got about 24 new locations for the benches and the proposals that are waiting. We prepared an order form and a bench policy to be put out. There are some things that we could not do that the city hall will have to do, like when somebody purchases a bench, the asking price for a bench, and Chad will work that out. In our policy, we decided that if someone purchased a bench with a plaque, that the amount that they paid will cover 10 years of upkeep and replacement and maintenance of the benches, and then after that, they would have a chance to renew. So we kind of wondered about wood versus recycled plastic. Poly, thank you. And it's true. Mayor said that he likes the way the wooden bench looks. And I agree, the wooden bench looks really good. And they come in other colors, and the one that the chiefs are sitting in comes in a wooden, I mean, it's a gray. Yes. Thank you, Dana. The chief bench comes in another color that is a wood look, and so I think that would be more amenable to the community. So why we chose the recycled plastic is it never keeps painting, it's water resistant, it's maintenance free, it's easy to assemble, and Chuck will say that he assembled the benches, that was pretty easy. I'm
Yeah.
looking at you,
I have to look at the instructions.
okay, and it's guaranteed it gets rated for 50 years, and all of the plastic is recycled plastic. So the last thing that we did, we called all the people on the waiting list to see if they were still interested. In been years, some of them had been on the waiting list, and we got a really big response. And I'm sure Sharon will correct me anything I've said because, you know, oh, every time I say something wrong, I know. So we're here as a committee to see if the council will approve us going forward and allowing Chad to do his magic. Yeah, he does so well. Nothing.
What's this matter?
His magic is to put out the order forms
Oh.
and to come up with a plan and the money and the plaques. He's just doing his magic.
Yeah, I'd like to do a little bit more work with you, but we've got a long way. And based on the information that was provided from the group, we put these maps together. So thank you very much to Mrs. Zimmerman for that and the group to do. We have a few things to take care of. We still got some work to do with the county or the state. The state has a rule, there's the oceanfront building line, nothing shall be built past the oceanfront building line. That includes concrete benches. So we're working with them on this. They also have a concern with having memorial benches out there. It's a policy that they don't necessarily adapt to because where you start and where you stop, they are in charge of all the parks in Oregon. And so we're going to have to do some work with that. Then sitting down, now that we have the price, and once the committee decides on the type of bench, we can put also the policy, get that done completely. We have all the costs set up, so I think we're ready to sit down as a group and do all the work to get this thing put together so that the council can make a decision based on the type of benches that the group wants to have, where to place the benches, any additional benches that might need to be placed, and then what the budget for that would be.
So you have a recommendation on what the bench policy people should do next, or we just wait for you?
I think we should sit down and talk about
Okay,
it because you did a lot of work, right? It was pretty well.
well, this is different, we did a lot of work, you did a lot of work,
It's good.
and Sharon did a lot of work as well.
Can I just add something? We called all those people, we split the list of, I don't know, 24, however many people. In 3, and we called them all and said, are you still interested? And we got a very enthusiastic response. Second thing I want to add is the bench that the chiefs are sitting in would only be for downtown benches. The more robust bench would be for the outlying areas because I think it's more robust.
Yes, and the bench that nobody's sitting on, we'd like to see them do.
Yes, or yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to keep that gray because that would blend in with the other benches that are already there. But this one, the chief's benches should be brown.
So you don't want the wood one?
Well, it's up to the city, I like the way the wood one looks. It's just that it needs more maintenance and upkeep.
Right.
No, that's not. My rationale for not having the wood one is why would we as a city want to cut down a bunch of trees to make our benches? That was my rationale.
Yeah, it's true, when we look at the benches downtown, some of them needed some work. That one in front of Civic Way, are you scary?
So we're not looking at a year or we're looking at these are.
Yeah.
Both of these two are two, what's the arrival time, the time in order to, because I have had people ask me how soon we can get these out, and we could at least have them out by spring and summer.
Well, I think that there's a couple things that we've got to talk about. Number one, none of the people on the list were guaranteed a bench. They were told that if a bench position became available, then in order of the request, we would give them a call. So now we're looking at potentially adding benches for all of those folks. And so we've got 20 some benches to approve the placement of as well. Once we get these things kind of established, determine where the benches are gonna go, what are we gonna replace, what color they're going to be. Then, the ordering and this group are both very good companies, they'll be perfect, they don't take much time. We can even get, we've negotiated some reduced costs on some of these as well, if we buy in bulk, so that's a factor. I put the high end as approximate price on both those sheets. And those prices are subject to changes, everything has been since the pandemic. So we've got a few things to work out.
But, people on the list are paid for their bench, right?
Right.
So
Yeah,
the city's not paying the bill for this.
No, they're not.
Just their cost of installation, the hourly cost.
And annual maintenance. And we have once a year they got and goes off, whatever they do.
Are we gonna set these in concrete so that they don't have to run down?
The beach benches would need to be in concrete, yeah. The other benches that we previously installed, that were installed previously, are very, very heavy, they're like 1,400 pounds, it seems like. These will need to be put onto concrete. And then also in the quote, you'll see that there's some, I think $75 to actually secure the bench to the ground. That can be done in asphalt and concrete. On the beach, we're gonna have a pour pad, and then put the bench and secure the bench, and that's one of the issues beyond the ocean front buildings.
Are you gonna charge the individuals for the pads as well?
Yes.
So what's our timeline for?
Then we need to put together the policy again and get an approval from the city council to place the benches in more locations.
So you get a chance to look over the time.
It's really good. I think it's going to meet like a couple of things, but it's like 80% there. I think it's cool. It's good. January, February would be better. With the projects that we got going on, but we're going to keep, we need to meet in January about this, as far as the bench with bench.
And I'd like just put it out there, I'd also like just a brief discussion, I haven't talked to Chad about it. If Rita is saying it's a 10-year commitment, so they're going to write us like an $8,000 check or whatever it is. Well, whatever, is that going to be put in a special revenue fund? Because now we're going to have to keep that fund for 10 years.
I understand.
If we put it in the general fund, it's going to be very difficult to track, and
It should be under the Parks Committee fund, is there a fund? I don't.
well, that's in the general fund, but it doesn't have a special revenue fund, so we might want to think about.
I'd like to see.
Because it's a long-term fund, that it might be considered, it would be way more transparent.
Yeah.
And not merged
Yeah.
with other things, that would be very clear, and if that fund was becoming financially unstable, then the council budget committee and council then would have to decide whether to transfer funds. I support them. I think we should consider
I think that would be really
in
good.
that process.
And I have to say that I kind of cheated and copied along what Seaside has done with their benches on the prom. And Seaside, you pay a fee for your bench and a plaque. And after, and you pay your fee, then after 10 years, you can renew your bench. But if you don't want to renew it, we give them their plaque and we sell the bench to somebody else. So that might be something we want to talk about too. I just thought that was so smart, and that's why I copied it, but I didn't. That's it.
But when you see the water ordinance, you see that we copy the water.
So, okay.
That's
Unless you're anything else to say.
Thank you.
Great. So is that fit on the chief's fence? Gonna look like the bench behind it,
It will look like that, only be brown.
like the one behind it?
Yes, only will not be wood. It will be brown.
It will be that color brown,
A little dark.
a little dark. Thank you. All right. Moving on Public communication, written and oral. Anyone wishing to address the city council concerning items of interest not on the agenda may do so at this time. All remarks will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Requests to comment electronically must be submitted by email to the city recorder at info@cityofgearhart.com no later than 4 p.m. the day of the meeting. In-person attendees wishing to speak are required to sign in prior to the meeting. At Roberts.
Roberts, 3669, and question, there's some movement of vegetation out beyond the road with wells on to the west, and specifically north, correct to the outside, which is what I, and it's like, here's something. It was a bulldozer out there. I think it was Mark running it. I couldn't tell. It was raining so hard. But anyway, I took my dogs out for a walk one day and saw this. I was just, what's going on? It's very similar to the mowing that was done south of Pacific Way, but not quite the spot room. I think there's the reason for it is all chopped up and everywhere. And in some areas, it goes clear out to the state line. In other areas, it's just along the road.
And this is a bulldozer?
A bulldozer, and I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm just saying it's a bulldozer. I have a self bulldozer, and I think that things were picked up because it's been storing cut scotch from at John Miller's house for 8 years. And a lot of it was gone. So that was really great to see. Put another, I'm assuming that the reason for it was control Scotch room, but there's no information. And I asked 2 or 3 of my other neighbors who were all right next to it. No one knew anything about it. So I'm just saying, where do I look? Was I completely blind? Because I don't want to put out information that is incorrect. So could you please help me? Where do I go to get information that I can relay to people? Because they're going to say, you're the one that lives there, what's going on? That's, that's what happens. Yeah, I wanted to contact that 2 people.
Well, I can tell you, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
I should make sure that
I would love to look, but it's the simple fact that what is going on?
It's not a bulldozer.
what is it? What is it?
There's 2 different projects that we're working on. Number 1, we have a larger tractor down to work on the wells, as we have well number 5 is getting some trouble. So we've been doing some work down there. That's separate from this. This is part of the scotch burn reduction that we do. We do it about once a year. We should be doing it about twice a year, but we're doing it once. And it was a project we've been working on a permit with Justin Day with Quality Tree. And his bid came in lowest for the work, and he's cutting the beach grass scotch fruit patches out and down as we had down on the south end. So he called me a couple days ago. We had already worked on the permit. We were expecting it starting next month, but he had so much time, so I didn't get a chance to communicate out. But this is scotch fruit reduction.
Apologies to Mark. He looked similar.
Yeah, 2 different projects that were out there. It wasn't a bulldozer, it was a tractor with a yeah, the flail gun on the back that's on there.
Okay.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah, I had no idea that they had started moving again, so.
It was a last minute call.
So it's something we put on the blog.
Sure.
It would really be helpful so people, if you don't provide them information, more than likely to do that.
Yeah, well, if I knew about it, I would put it on, but it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's just like.
You bet it was Monday during all that rain.
Right.
Yeah, he called me Monday morning and asked, did you do it? So we didn't have a lot of time to get the information out, but haven't since gotten the information out either, so we're really about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
thank you,
it.
Matt.
That's all.
Brian, are you on?
I do not see the Jeff off.
Okay, well, but now we're going to close public comments and go to the written comment section. Everyone who's got the written comments, well, there's. Is there any comments that anyone wants to make? Sharon? No. Yeah. No. No. Okay, moving on.
The only comment I would make about those written comments is thank you for commenting.
Yes, well, thank you. It's nice to have some kind of information. No late correspondence. Was there? Are you talking about the one from the North Coast Land Conservancy?
Land Conservancy was one. Josh Conwell's letter was another. Yeah. And,
There's three here.
Right, this one is,
From Tom T.
Yeah.
From statewide investment.
oh, it was. Oh.
That was your letter to them about the. Right.
And that's the only this one.
Okay.
Those three items.
So I'm just going to move on. If anyone's got any comments, please speak up now. All right. Hearing no comments. We're going to move on to ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance regulating the operation of the water system in the city of Gearhart, government and responsibilities established and providing penalties for violations thereof. Jack, will you read the synopsis?
I will. I'll read the first paragraph of the synopsis and then we go through the rest here in a little bit. Gearhart's outdated water ordinance contained inconsistencies due to repealed and updated sections, with many listed fees deemed unrealistic and associated costs. When adjusting water rates, the decision was made to repeal the entire ordinance and its provisions, opting for a fresh start with a new one, maintaining separate rates. The repeal, along with August water rate increase, received council approval. The attached draft ordinance 940 outlines fees and policies considered fair and relevant by the staff. Your options here are to approve the ordinance, read once by title only, make changes, motion to approve as amended, or take another action as desired by council. Nothing. The recommendation that staff recommends the council move ordinance 940. Legal analysis is there. The ordinance is really going to affect, if you read once tonight, once next month, and everything's there to become ordinance. And financial analysis, and that's part of the reason that we wanted to do this ordinance to make sure that we were charging for the things that we needed to charge them for. Essentially, this ordinance helps us run the water system safely and effectively, and while doing it efficiently. This helps us bring in some fees for things that we do now we don't charge fees for, but are taking a lot of time. We have had an fee schedule and an old ordinance that was antiquated. It was difficult to use and we weren't using it effectively. So the team and I put this together and we've met over it many times. Justine and Christy are the ones that do the most work with the public on these in this round. So I'm going to rely on them a little bit tonight to answer some of the questions that you might have. But we feel good about this ordinance and the way that it's put together, and wanted to know from you how you want to go through it, or if you just want to start with questions. And that would be, I guess, for you.
Are there any questions? You're asking for questions about this?
Or, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have just recommendations and questions, so I don't know now. Wait until after.
There's a motion and then we'll go to discussion. All right. So if I have a motion in a second, then we can go to discussion.
I make a motion to approve after we make changes. And that we then make a motion to approve the amendment.
Okay.
Do you want me to reword that?
Yes, we're making one motion and not two motions at once. So just make a motion to approve.
Maybe you should state the amendments that you think should be made, and then you can make, staff can note those, and then you can make a motion of the ordinance. And then the discussion can happen based off of your amendments as well as what's in your.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to start? No. Okay. Starting on page number 3, and again, this goes to the credit of TV Supervisor wrote in his thoughts on this and some of his suggestions I agree with. But prior to that, let's start with section 5 meters. Go down to fourth line down. And where it says the meter will be immediately replaced by the city water department. Remember that we're making rules that we have to live by, and are we going to be able to, in all instances, immediately go out and do this, or should we give ourselves a little bit of an out or a little bit of flexibility and include the or as soon as practical? You can just cross out immediately. And then that would supply everything.
Well, we do want to leave in there the fact that this is something that the state considers urgent repair.
Yeah.
And it won't be, we're not going to give ourselves 6 months to do it, but if there are a whole bunch of, let's say we get a batch of bad meters and they all go bad, we'll do this. It will be something that we prepare on an urgent basis.
I think scratch counting the U is okay.
Okay. So there's that, and then the next one, this is where I want to give the credit to Tom for bringing it to our attention. Okay, the average, so line number 3, that's in section 5, line number 3, shall be charged on the basis of the average meter consumption for the 4 months preceding the failure of the meter. Well, if my meter fails in November, guess what 4 months that you're going to be looking at are going to be off, summer months when I'm probably using a lot more water, so I don't think that's fair to me. I like his suggestion of, the average 4 months of the average year, 4 average months, or maybe take the 2 highest months and the 2 lowest months, I don't know. But maybe somehow you got to figure it out where it's more appropriate, we're not charging people more than they would actually.
So just based on my limited 2 years of experience, Christy is one of those to chime in. But when a meter is traditionally not working correctly, it's not reading at all. So really, to me, it's a moot point because like people would catch their meter wasn't working, they were reading 7 consumption units forever, but they never changed. Okay. So it really wasn't because they were paying attention. You know what I mean? Okay. So I haven't seen one where the meter was.
But we have to, when we're making hard fast rules that we have to abide by, we have to allow for the possibility of that.
Right.
So,
You could use the prior year month or the 2 months preceding,
yeah.
and you could even say which one is lower. So
There you go. I like that.
Our system is working. We have had an adjustment.
But when the meter's not working, like I said, normally they would have been paying. They would pay the base, and then the next bill they want to kill us because it's now reading 20 cons where it read 0 cons forever.
And then, so we make adjustments. And we go through and we take an average. And we base that average on. That's for, that's gonna be the one.
I like the previous year's month. So look at it in November, go to last November,
And we do look back a lot,
Yeah.
a lot of happens. That's not an uncommon thing.
That's not gonna encapsulate a new law. So either way, we could do the 2 months previous, the 2 months after that period. I don't think it really matters that it's the 4 months previous to the date. It could be the 4 months that encapsulates that date. So the 2 months before and 2 months after. Feels like it would work.
That seems more fair.
Okay, so then. Sewage treatment based average meter consumption for 2 months prior to 2 months. Okay.
You got a meter that isn't working, how do you get 2 months? Post? Because then all of a sudden you've got a working meter and you're gonna use that.
You have a stick because the manual, a stick on a number.
Right, but then how do you get 2 months to average those 4 months?
That would be previous to this.
We should do previous cycles with the months.
And then after the year before or afterwards, so we reduce the dating. But I think the 2 months prior and 2 months after, we're averaging off that.
So that's just one billing cycle. So one billing cycle prior and one billing cycle after. That's the way that was.
Correct.
No.
Okay. Now moving on to page 4, section 7. Where it says when water is discovered taking away to I don't like the wording of this. It's very awkward. But I get what you're trying to say. Basically, what you're trying to say, when the city becomes aware that water is being lost due to leaking pipes, defective fixtures, or other, it says the water shall be shut off and the owner and or consumer notified. I have 2 concerns. Number 1, if it's just my toilet that's running and you come out to shut off my water and I'm an out of towner, that may negatively affect my septic system and everybody else in the neighborhood. So I would think that we should remove shall and replace it with may, allowing us to make a reasonable decision based on the information. So it's not a requirement, but it's a we can. And then again, getting back to the septic, if you turn off my water, I need to know about it as soon as possible so I can fix it. And if there's no time limit, there's nothing in this is immediate, so I would like to, that's where I'd like to insert the word immediately or as soon as practical. And I want to know how are we going to notify them. I think we have to make some really strong attempts to make sure that they are aware of it, whether we leave a flyer on the door and also advise them by the same way that we notify them on the bill, whether it's through mail or by email or both. But it can be, you know, when you're on a septic system, it can be a really cheap way to turn on some water. And again, like I said, I like may because it allows us to make,
Okay.
you know, good common sense decisions.
So we could say when the city becomes aware of the leaking pipes, defective fixtures, or other, this could be water may be shut off and the owner and consumer notified.
Okay, and do we need to clarify that we're talking about on private property? That's also very ambiguous here. So when the city becomes aware that water is being lost on private property.
Yes. Yeah, this whole thing is set up to where we have our customers and the city, and this would encapsulate any customer, whether it be owner, leasing, or renter. So I can see making the changes to the owners discover fixtures or other the water may be shut off, and then the consumer notified as soon as possible. Water will be turned on with some sort of efficiency. So add on public property somewhere in there?
Well, when I say
The
private,
private
we're talking
property.
about, yeah, we're talking about, this is specifically, we're talking about private property, right?
talking to anybody who'd have water service.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but you know, the truth is that there's really not anything that's not on public, private property.
Right.
And then the public side of the fire station.
I guess my concern was that it was implied, but I think that it's the information strong enough. that we understand.
The other issues.
Okay, section 8. Water may at any time be shut off from the mains without notice for repairs or blah, blah, blah. I think we need to clarify who can do that, and it's only the city. The city may shut the water off from the mains without notice. And then this is just a look around thing, but down there, you're using and therefore as an introductor, so there should be a comma before and after that. Nothing. Portion of the sentence. That's why I'm sorry, that was that, those bottom line, section 8. Maybe have commas in there. Premises with a shut off valve installed without the dwelling unit, comma, and therefore not needing meter shut off assistance, comma, or executives.
Okay, it's a good catch.
And then on this page 5. This is section 11. Again, this goes back to specifying who's going to be there. So I think. Shall be unlawful for any person to enter, destroy, or interfere with any water main, water pipe, service box, pattern, or other accessories of the water system. So, asking that it's unlawful for any person to interfere with any water main and with the water main to do correction. So I ourselves now by otherwise by the public works director or its designee.
For after unlawful for any person.
Any person not authorized by the public works director or his designee. Okay, and then upon completion of construction, all such water mains and appurtenances, that's a lot of bells and constant. Anyway, that word shall be replaced in an improved manner, and the streets and sidewalks shall be restored as nearly as possible to their former condition. And again, we have to direct who's going to do that, who's responsible for doing that. It's not clear who's responsible. Sounds like it can be by them, by us. I'm assuming we're saying if they mess with it, they fix it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but there's gonna be times where we're going to fix it as well, and just tell them that, they'll stay away, this is our job, and then bill them for it later.
Okay, so we will be saying that the direction of the public works director or its designee. But I'm thinking if I'm a contractor and it doesn't clearly say that I have to do it, I'm gonna be like.
We can say you can't kill right about it.
Okay, and then on to section 12. Special uses, further uses or services not herein mentioned. Water, I would change will to may. Because you would say it will be furnished by special contract and obligates
I
us to.
agree with that.
So that's gonna be a may.
What's that one?
Well, after the comma where it's water will be, may be furnished by special contract. Or may only be furnished by special contract. Section 14. City of Gearhart established a water rate schedule, so this makes it a one-time thing. I think this is where we should insert the authority to continue to do that in, future rate, adjustments as necessary. This is where we were thinking about, I know there was some discussion about regularly scheduling a look at this in the budgeting. So this is where I think that wording would be inserted. And creates that schedule so that if you don't drop off, you don't have a problem again, years down the road, we're like, hey, we need to do
Yeah, the policy was established by resolution, so testing a policy there would be.
So this is where we give ourselves the authority to do that. Ongoing.
Yeah.
How about the water rate schedule, shall be reviewed by city council.
There's some pretty good verbiage in that, resolution. We'll match it.
Okay.
As close as we can.
Okay, section 15, tapping fees. The second sentence, per Article 2, Section 4 of this ordinance, payment of flat tapping fees are due prior to installation with excess tapping fees due, but it doesn't make it says that they're due, but it doesn't require that they actually be paid. So I think we need to change the wording, massage wording of that. Payment of flat tapping fees instead of are due, I would insert, I would take that out, shall be required. So payment of flat tapping fees shall be required prior to installation with excess tapping fees due within 10 days of invoice. That in any way change the change that you do? Okay, so page 6. Section 1, application for water. Going down to the last line of the first paragraph. I'm not even sure I know which owner we're referring to. So, if we can clean it up as far as whether it remains with the owner who approved the fees, or if it gets passed on to the new owner whoever buys the property. How do we clean up that with it to make it?
You're in section 1, page 6.
Section 1, page 6, the last line.
You want to go on to that.
Well, that's my question is what is it you're trying to achieve? Because I'm not clear for you. And that would be if I'm not clear with somebody else. In the event the consumer fails to remit the monies owed and the premises go up for sale or transfer, the water lien attached lies solely with the owner of the premises. Is that going to be the owner who buys the premises? Is that right? So I'm just, it's the previous owner. So I think we need to clarify that it's the owner who approved the fees.
Yeah, so
I think we would want to record the language out of this, but
well, but sometimes people will take cash though. They're about 50% of the time that we get a check from a title company, and there's 50% we don't. So I don't know how that part works on the end of companies. I think that some title companies do water liens and some don't. So I don't know that we can, can we force them to do it?
we can record it during the window with the county, and then they would be required to.
I think we should. I think that's standard practice is that the fees stay with the, because you're never going to get the money out of the owner. If you don't pay before, it's certainly not going to pay you now. That's no problem.
Well, we haven't had to deal with that very much in the water side of things, thankfully, but we have had to.
For what? Deal with what?
Gonna be on the news, I think.
We like I said, we give the money when the house sells.
Okay, so again, to me, this does not clarify which owner is responsible
Yeah.
for that.
Yes.
And so it needs to be clear which owner we're going to go after.
Right.
If it's gonna stay with the property, or if it stays with the property, we need to clarify that. If it stays with the previous owner, then we need to clarify.
I think it should stay with the previous owner.
It does say consumer.
Well, the consumer is the person that's the renter. The one that's leasing or renting.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this specifically, in the event the consumer fails to remit money, so, and the premises goes out for sale or transfer, which again is awkward wording. The water lien attached lies solely with the owner of the premises.
At the time of sale
Um,
or transfer,
Right,
would that work?
the consumer,
Right, so I think what they're saying, what the account was that if the renter doesn't pay the water bill and then the property is listed, it's the owner of the property that's responsible versus the consumer who will not be able to track down. So regardless of whose name the water bill is in, it would be paid by the owner of the property. It is transferring interest.
That rented the facility, the rent or, yeah.
Right.
some of those things about that, because I still feel strongly that it's, you're seeing some form of sale and you're talking about two owners. You're only the owner needs to, it's going to be more protected for us and again, serve our purposes.
The owner, authorized agent shall be responsible for all accumulated charges in the event that consumer moves without having paid.
So I think in the section one, we kind of specify that 1.1, but we just say the water lien is the responsibility of the owner transferring the property. So that it wouldn't be the transfer, it would be transferable.
Then under section 1.1, the line that starts with event, right after that is that we don't need to cross out that. In the event the consumer moves without having paid all the money without their, same thing in the next line right after the event.
You're on page 6.
And on page 6, section 1.1, which is a couple of circles down towards the bottom. Yeah. The owner authorizations shall be responsible for all accumulated charges in the event the consumer moves without having to pay all outstanding water charges owed to the city. They'll leave that there, and then the next line is the same. And then on page 7,
There's 2. Page what?
page 7, second line down, starting with the sentence starting with the word all. Insert prior to the word all, please build to. So this line would then read, fees billed to all metered accounts shall be due and payable on or before the 20th of each month due.
Got it? You got that?
So then bring it down to line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2/3 through. There's, it says, in terms of this ordinance, comma, will result in water being shut off. I say may. So will. Allow us to make reasonable judgment based on real-time information.
What is names?
It would give us discretion to some sort of hardship.
It still would give us the.
Yes.
Um, 2.1, last line, the city can accept I would take out can and just say the city accepts payment. In person, vehicle, or electronically online. Does that even really need to be in the ordinance? The method of how we accept payments, so we have a regular. I understand something that says how we're gonna accept all payments.
Not like a written anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that needs to be in there, but if it is, I would take out the word can accept. Because, that's a little too. This is something that it should be clear. Instead of it can be this way, it should be this way. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna say how we're gonna accept payments, and it needs to be. Absolutely.
Well, my one concern would be if we're saying they can pay over, but can we do it some sort of credit, because we're allowing people to pay you credit card. There might be some sort of verification we can do, or if someone's using someone else's credit card.
Do we need that line in here?
I think we would want to credit.
I agree. I think we need to-
The payment line, you know.
They can drop it off in the box. Yeah.
2.2. This is, I'm not sure that this is just consumers who request decision. And I think my last question is based on the fee schedule down at the bottom. Turn on and turn off $25. Is that you tell me, is that an appropriate hourly fee based on the time that it would take our staff to go out there and do it?
We've had a few discussions about this and.
What's this really like?
And really the first way.
Well, we've never charged these fees. And
Right.
so this fee is gonna be new to
Right.
people, and it's going to be potentially increasing, like when we have a shut off notice, then we have to go turn off the 25, and then they have to go back and turn off for 25. So when you figure the compounding amount, I think we try to think, let's start here. Let's see.
Well, I'm just gonna guess based on our hourly wage, I mean, that might be a little bit low, and then I'll just, say that I would have thought that fee would have been at least $40, because I understand it's fee to cover our time, but it's, I think the second part of that is it's also supposed to kind of be a deterrent to keep people from happiness, they have to come out and turn it on and off for, because they're not fixing their stuff or whatever. So I
It's like no payment, like if they don't have a payment,
Right,
they don't make a
right.
payment, then they drop the
Right.
line, then they go payment, then they'll owe $25 for us to turn that off. Then they'll owe 25 for having for, 20 for the door hanger, then they'll owe 20 more for the second door hanger, then they'll owe 29, so now we added, and I agree, it's supposed to be a deterrent. These are people who, some of them already have issues paying the water.
Right, well, I know that they can't pay 25, they can't pay 150, so. Okay, that was my question.
I'm not against the increase in, that's what you want.
We had the same conversation.
We did.
I'm just curious to see what.
We ended up on let's take this approach. Let's start here, see how it works. See if it makes sense for us, but. I think so far it's been a situation. For the
Thank you. I think
First of all, let me just comment, I think we're gonna have to start paying the, my question is on page 3. Top line. Says no person supplied with water service from the city water system should be entitled to use it for any purpose other than as defined, or to supply water to any other person or property. And my question is,
What about the people that are allowing people to have campers on their land, like in my neighborhood, and campers are hooked up, persons living in the camper, and the campers are hooked up to the water?
Law aside, I don't think that there would be any major, well,
It would be no different than a pool connected to a pool or some other type of. No, because it's an ongoing usage, but somebody living, that's more of a violation of another one.
yeah, I think that the way that water is used, it can be used for any type of thing that you could possibly think of within your property. If you're going to begin getting a water trailer and trucking it somewhere else, it's time and profit.
But that's not how this reads. It says to supply water to any other person.
Or property. The intention of that was be outside of your property. So if you were to hook a hose up and start supplying water to somebody and turn it off of, that would be a violation.
But we have had on your property. We have had outside your property. That means bigger.
That's,
Well, it says to any other person's own property. So like if you did it. This probably seems like we're going pretty far afield, but a city that I represent should have this problem. So,
we've never had a problem that we don't.
right, so the people that are on the hook with their own circuit and dry, and they're looking for the jurisdiction with the least expensive water. So it can be trucked. It is an experience I had for the first time this year. So, I think that, I think that we could, or we could say, outside the district.
I don't think this is going to solve that problem.
Yeah, I think we
Necessarily.
attack that through.
But I think that one should be taken care of more through the ordinances that we have. How does
My
that?
intention for my RV and my driveway and got the water supply.
Yeah,
Like, right, you're not living in. Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, again, what the issue that you're having is that somebody's living in an RV on property, and that's a whole other issue that we have to address in a different manner from this.
yeah, but good point.
Yeah.
Water service, water.
Any other questions?
No, that's all.
Dana? Rita? I do not like number 9 on page 4 at all, because I'm not going to let anyone come in my property and tear my walls apart to look at my pipes just because they want to inspect my piping. I am just living with that. Nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how this works in the building realm. If there's something dangerous going on, the city needs to be able to take care of it.
Right, but inspecting the condition of water pipes. You gotta take all the sheet rock down to find that one pipe that you want to inspect. It doesn't say anything about the cost, doesn't say anything about replacing the sheet rock.
Yeah, we're gonna, but let's say somebody had a sewage pump hooked up to the water system. Let's, somehow they were hooking it up, they need a water supply, there's a sewer there, they do not have a backflow. We need to protect our water system from taking in things from private property. And that, I think, is the nature of this.
The nature of it, needs to be more specific, because right now, this is just an open wound on my property. It doesn't say, it does, sets me on fire right now, just looking at it. And I hate doing that, it's just like, no, I can't. It just,
The fire chief's here.
Yeah, he's waiting patiently for something. You see, you understand what I mean? I just.
Yeah, you don't want us on our property, just, kind of looking around and trying to dig into your walls to get your water pipe. But then
You don't under my house? I mean, I got a body. Let me get some water. I'm gonna put it out.
Yeah, I don't understand both sides.
And I understand, someone's got a sewer line that's attached to his water line, and he's got no backflow device, but isn't there some way we can change that, so? I just,
I mean, that's a circumstance that I've come up previously, like, is there?
But for some reason, I just feel like there's something that this ought to be there because of this reason. I can't think of what it is.
We do have I know we have wells, people have wells in certain areas and.
That's some difficulty with that.
and I can see that well being pumped into city water, because they're tied up. They want to get water into their house, but their well's bad, but it's still pumping into their house, and then they've got water from the city, and all of a sudden you've got.
And they're more pressuring it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know there's some other regulatory code where we could put this sort of thing in.
Can we address that since it's us?
I mean, that was like a violation.
Well, that's just, this is one of the big violations problem. And if we go to the rate ordinance, that's just the rate, so it's something to give us the ability to access properties. But I don't know where.
I don't either right now,
Is it a violation, a plumbing violation? There was a title you, if there's no backflow.
Well, then how do you get the plumbing violation? And it's in your wall. It's, where do you get reasonable?
Because there's water, sewage water going somewhere. And you know.
Yeah, it's just.
I get exactly what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out how can we ensure that we have, if we become aware of one of these access issues, how can we quickly get access, whatever or not, having to go through a lengthy judicial process.
Can I make a suggestion just for the interest of time? Could we approve this without that and then amend it later once we
Yeah.
without that portion?
Just in there, we're just talking about. Nervous, but we don't have anything right now. So.
Yeah, so it's,
We're doing that.
you're saying it hasn't happened, so
Yeah.
we are looking at that tomorrow. But what's going on?
So we don't want to just wait to approve this
No, we just don't have anything yet.
I think we could leave that header for section 9 and just strike the language and bring back other language when we have time to think about it. It's not today.
Okay.
So we're leaving section 9, access to transfer inspection, but we're not having any language. Do we need to write something like blank intentionally or just leave it?
No.
Just checking.
There's a instance where it just says silent, period. So we have
I don't like intentionally go, so that.
Thank you for your notes.
Really, kind of thought of making it.
Okay, so now we've got a motion, we've had a discussion, we've had some corrections. Can we just go on to the vote on this? Is that what we're doing with the corrections?
Yeah, to make, a motion to adopt as amended.
Motion, I believe, approve as amended.
A second, please.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? I didn't hear you. Thank you. All right, moving on. Ordinance 941. An ordinance amending the city of Gearhart zoning ordinance regarding the placement of political signs in Gearhart.
So I spent some time looking at what other jurisdictions have done, Oregon law, free speech, as well, constitutional free speech protections. This came up, the last question I talked to somebody fully to this, I was today, and I explained that, we did have an ordinance, and according to Justice Stevens, at the Supreme Court, that temporary political signs got special protections, so I wasn't comfortable removing the sign, and then that person's like, well, what if I put up an even bigger sign? And then I said, well, I guess you demonstrate that I need to be point neutral in the regulation. And that, you know, polarity did not ensue. And I did not, and anyway, a lot of people did think it was funny because I got a lot of calls. And so not to make PTSD all about that. So I kind of looked at, well, what can we do? The most common thing that cities do is they regulate the political signs in the public right of way. They just to clarify, you can't put them in there. They have some signs have a fee for removal if the signs are in the public right of way. And they also have a fine. And I think Gearhart is not always clear if it's somebody's yard or if it's an unapproved public right of way. And so I had noted that they would have some flexibility. So if someone thinks it's on their property and it's not, we could just say, hey, can you move 10 feet? And then it's in their yard. Other things we might want to consider, the duration that they're out for, the two most common periods that I've seen are either 60 days to 90 days. I put it at 90, but 60, I think it's certainly defensible. Just to clarify that people shouldn't, like, even if the tree's on the person's property, they shouldn't fail the sign in the tree or anything like that. We're really talking about hanging around political signs with no illumination or lights, or if people want to put the signs in their window, I put in some coverage limitations on that, just so they would be able to do that, but we would have, and again, as I went through this, my thought was just to provide as clear and objective standards as possible so that people would understand this is something I can definitely do, or this isn't something that I can do. So if it's 6 square feet, we could have said 4, but 6 to me felt like that would address, you know, there's 2 by 2 signs and also 3 by 2. So they would know the size, they would know the duration, they would know where they could put them to on the home right away or the property. Other things to think about are that do we want to limit it to one sign with regard to candidates? So like if you want person X, you could put in their sign. If you want someone running for judge, you could put their sign too, but not necessarily put in 5 signs for the same person or more. So we could do that, have that. And then the other thing is there's some recent case law for people that have signs that are kind of not supporting a candidate or a measure, but otherwise send a message that might be deemed political. So one of those would be like a equal rights sign or a peace sign or something like that. And those signs deserve protection too. Under the cases, the most recent cases, you know, on a temporary basis. The other piece would be signs from, so that the state provides regulations on that certain political signs for a candidate or a measure would have requirements as far as the path they were from, etc. That language would not necessarily be on a sign and not a peace sign because it's not being sponsored by a candidate for office. or advocating for a specific election issue, more just, I think most of them advertise for human rights. So, that's, those wouldn't need to have those for, because they're not covered under the state selection law. So this was kind of my best, as I recall, a lot of the issues that came up that people were concerned about, I tried to address all of those and also just make sure that we were in line with, the protected speech under the US Constitution and the Constitution. I feel like we are. And then if we want to limit it to one side per candidate or major, we can add that language in. I wasn't sure how you guys would feel about that.
I would like that in. Wherever it goes.
Or allow.
Allow signage for the
And we do have the, state act.
yeah, it's under section 2, item 3, and the section of the state law requirements.
Okay.
And the state updates those very regularly, which is why I just checked it versus trying to specify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way, you're not aware of timing. So they changed which. So I think the changes this last in 2020 to a lot of people.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that were experienced that weren't aware of this.
And then, so my question is, so this ordinance is specific to signs related to elections, right?
Yes.
So when we're talking about either the allowed signage, you're talking about, temporary signage, we're not talking about for sale sign on houses, we're not talking about the contractors that want to get out their signs saying, I just do this one,
No.
that kind of stuff. We're going to address that later, or is there an opportunity for us to?
We can go back and do something on
Yeah,
that.
we can certainly come back and do that. I just wanted to, if this goes tonight, it would be, it would be, and then January for the second reading, and then goes into effect February, and then that's a little more than 90 days before the election. So that this would be in effect at that point.
Right.
Are we having a discussion about this? I'm confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are, okay. Who's gonna monitor all this and enforce this?
The code enforcement, just like it is now.
Code enforcement.
Yeah, this is in the zone code, so it does not have any. It would be under the, police department.
Okay, so it's
It would be under-
energy and you then, or?
Correct.
Okay. Second thing was downside may not be attached to tree, shrubbery, utility poles, and cabins, and post signs. Do we want to put fences on it?
What would that solve?
Well, they can put it on their own fence, but not on public property, and that's already addressed.
A fence on the fence line.
Well, the fence line's property line, so it would be.
It's their property.
Right.
So can signs go on fences?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't want to put that in.
Yeah, it's up to you, that's up to you. But currently, with it could be a fence. As long as it's in their property.
I think with our recent history, and that would, I would not advise that we tell people that can't use this. We should be.
Okay.
As long as it's not in public, right, not on the fence over the creek,
Right.
our fence.
Okay, so, next question, existing signs from past elections that are still around town, what do we do about
So it would be removed, and then the question is if,
So now,
because it's after, it's the period, it is 9 years prior to the election, we can do 60, if you want that 60 or 90. and then removed within 5 days following the election.
So no grandfather in past elections. All right. Just asking.
You know, I don't think we would say that a temporary election sign would be a pre-existing use.
Well, there's a few signs that are,
2020?
yeah, or, yeah, it's in their window, their house.
Well, I guess then it would be that this goes into effect, and then they can have to sign up 90 days prior to the election, and then they need to remove it 5 days after the election.
You're talking about past election signs that are still up.
Well, my hope is that people would want to, remove those, because the election.
People want to remove them because some of them are so mad about things.
I'm going to have to think a little about
Okay. And then my last question is, who's allowed to remove the signs that are in?
Right away,
No, that are,
right away.
no, that are past their due date to, who's allowed to remove the signs? Code? Enforcement? Just curious.
I don't think if you're talking about somebody's private property, I don't think people on somebody's private property remove the sign and do.
I think we would
It's
issue
gonna be
a violation.
a violation.
So it could be protracted,
Are we good?
because you're not giving me permission to just go into people's properties and start putting signs out. If we do, I'm gonna need some
Right.
different codes. I'm here to help.
So Peter, you can make some changes to this.
Well, I think we want to add a limit of 1 sign per candidate or major per yard. The other thing is that the signs are, our prior sign ordinance did not address temporary. That was not enforced because it was unconstitutional. Because it was for the election. So if there is no longer an election where the candidate is in that election, then I don't know that I don't think that the people would be able to rely on that in order to keep the signs up. That said, the whole purpose of this is to tamp down the controversy and have people understand what their rights are and when and where to do things. So, like, I hope that with the passage of time, people do come into compliance. I mean, I do not want to start the whole business again, but on the other hand, we want people to understand what they can and can't do. So, because we don't want wasting, political sense to be expensive. I mean, they put a problem in the right away and then they pick up and then they have to pay fines to get them back. And because I've had instances in other cities that had a sign ordinance in effect for this, where people just unwittingly put the signs in, they're public, they just didn't know, their volunteers didn't know any better. So, hopefully this would be an education.
If I had signs in the right of way, I would pick those. I'm representing the property, so I would go and get them. If I had a sign that was left over that said Scooby-Doo for president in 20, I would probably write a letter, take them through that process in order to get it resolved that way.
We need that.
No, it says 90 days and 5, so I mean, we wouldn't want to hamstring ourselves with
Grandfathering in because we have tracks whose grandfather.
Well, I would argue that those signs would have been illegal for the fact that they were a temporary political sign. So, I mean, that's what Justice Stevens wrote the opinion, it was that temporary political signs are unique in their ability to get out your message in a cost-effective manner. So for every car that drives by, they see that sign. There's no way that a person would be able to have those conversations. So it is because it is political and because it is uniquely effective, arguably, that they are allowed and shouldn't be regulated by cities. If it's for an election that's no longer an election, it wouldn't have any of those constitutional protections because people wouldn't be necessarily voting on an issue or for a person or what have you. So I don't think, I mean, I think they could be removed. With that said, like, I think we need to think about, if wounds are still raw and, going on someone's property, that probably won't be very popular. And could lead to more issues.
One other question, what about flags? Political flags, like people's names on as candidates.
Somebody flew the American flag and then the Scooby-Doo flag underneath it.
Do we need to include flags under this?
I think a flag arguably for a candidate would be a sign, so as long as the flag is less than 6 feet. I mean, this doesn't specify that it needs to be wood or cardboard or laminate or anything. It could be whatever. I haven't thought about the flags. That'd be complicated.
Okay, can we motion with an amendment as amended? Would you be happy with that?
Want to see it rewritten?
We can certainly do that, but then it won't get effect prior to, it won't be effect prior to the election, not prior to the And so just so I'm clear on when we're writing this, what I'm amending is number 4 for the measure class, there will be a limit of one side of the major under level percentage, under level percentage. So that'll be number 4.
Is there any other changes?
There's no other changes besides that?
There are no other changes. I'm making motions to approve this.
I second. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? All right, passes. Thank you. Moving on. Into this old business. Anyone wanting to comment on the old business, we do so at this time for 3 minutes. We're going to go with the City of Gearhart strategic blueprint. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no hands raised. What are we doing with this? Chad,
This is informative. This is making the changes that were requested. We finished the draft, put it together on this piece of paper, and they're just presented to you as a request.
all right, that's great. Looking at that.
Nothing for you to do on this.
Okay, moving on to old business. Anyone wishing to comment on Pacific or clean energy and source materials? In the audience, seeing no hands raised, let's move on. Will you very quickly read the synopsis? You need to?
No.
Okay, everyone knows that we did this? Okay, then we're moving on. New business. Anyone wishing to comment on new business? Seeing no hands raised. All right. I make a motion and I need a consensus to move, to make the starting salary on step 5 for the new training officer and to the division chief. And this is because of the education and the training that she has. The consensus is, if you vote yes, we do this, and if we vote, you vote no, we're not going to do it.
Good question. The savings that we have already achieved, because budget bonds is going to offset this, we will not need to use it on our budget for this fiscal year, next fiscal year.
Right. At this point, based on what we've spent, that's accurate. I mean, I can't, you know, it's just something that we had to pay to, yeah, I don't know what might happen, you know, worse things happen, but I think that we have money even in other places, that if we need to do the resolution in June to move appropriations there. I think this is, we can.
All right. I'm gonna ask for a vote for consensus. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Oh, no.
This is consensus. Okay? Chief?
Thank you very much.
All right, moving as quickly as we can. Planning commission appointments. I am going to, what do they call it? Recommend that Eric Halpern serve on the planning commission. Can I get a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. All those against?
Aye.
Okay, we have 3-1. All right. Eric, you're on board.
Thank you very much.
All right, next is the City of Gearhart, Oregon State Fire Marshal Intergovernment Agreement. And are you going to speak to this? Yes. Okay, with you. So this is for the tender that I've been dangling in front of you for about a year. So now, that we applied for it and that we were awarded the grant from the Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office. This is the IGA for that piece of apparatus. So this is a 3-year contract with the state, and essentially we can renew it within anywhere in the initial term or at the end of that initial term. This is a pretty standard practice with all like AMG grants, what have you, and other apparatus on it. With that, in here it states how much that we can be reimbursed for yearly maintenance costs up to. Yes, thank you. Each year's maintenance costs, so this plays out our obligations. We have to have the numbers, plug it in. It will replace our current tender that is 27 years old, outdated, out of compliance, out of practice, and in need of much costly repairs. In order for us to essentially accept the apparatus, then council would need to accept this IGA with that. And then there is a caveat that they wrote in here that so there could be discussion within the initial or renewal application period to then all ownership be given to the ATS house for the value separate discussions. Contract agreement. Okay. Is there any discussion?
One question.
Yes.
If something happens to this vehicle, rather than incapacitated or whatever, who does insurance pay the state or?
So one of the things with this on here, we'll need to list OSFM on our insurance. Our insurance is aware that it's just like listed as far as I know, Justin, so listing his name on it. But our city of Gearhart is covering this item as I did that.
This is increase our insurance costs, is
It will increase ours because it will now be our vehicle
Yeah.
instead of theirs.
Yeah.
Because it was their vehicle.
Is that legal to do?
Yeah, it's legal, yeah.
So the current
Already
tender,
worked it out, how that's gonna be covered.
The original budget, we'll have to budget for it, so it will be more money.
Will this go here or
No.
to the?
at the substation, and this will replace the district board, the only apparatus they own is the current tender, and they're aware that
that transition meeting taken place, we have multiple discussions. With that,
And the tender is a water tanker. A water tanker is an airplane thing, so you can't call a tender a water tanker.
there's no names attached to it.
So it's, yeah, bring your bids up.
Okay. I'm glad we got that all taken care of. Is there a motion from the table to approve entering into?
Motion to approve entry into the attached IGA with OSFM to host a youth hunger dinner.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay. You got everything you wanted, Mayor. You'll never have that again.
I think we should specify that the other two planning commission members, that you want to reappoint, we should vote on that as well.
Oh, very good.
And I think we should also, again, thank you, we had some phenomenal applications.
Right, and the applications all go into the pool, so you don't have to come back and get interviewed again. We can just pick from the pool. The names of the other two are Russ Taggart and John Mesper. I nominate those two to re-up and serve another term.
And they're down by one at a time.
No, a motion to,
And she voted yes. She seconded and moved.
oh,
I did.
a yes vote? A yes vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Anyone got concerns? Keep me straight.
I would like to thank Terry Graff for his service on our committee. He really studies things, he's always very diligent.
Yes, it's good, to thank him. It was, kind of tough that last meeting for a lot of people. All right. No concerns from any counselor? Motion then. I'm moving to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We usually don't go this way, but you know.
I know.
What? You know him?
Yeah.
Okay.